They've got the looks, the fame, and the whispers. In 2025, these 10 stunning South Korean actors aren't just heating up screens. They're setting off rumors that won't quit. From BL drama stars to K-pop idols turned actors, each name on this list carries a mix of heartthrob energy and unexpected intrigue. Are they queer icons in the making, or just magnetic enough to spark speculation? One thing's for sure, behind those perfect jawlines, there's a story that's got fans watching a little closer. You won't believe who made it to number 1. Ji Chang-wook wasn't just a star, he was a phenomenon. With razor-sharp cheekbones, a voice like velvet, and action scenes that looked like poetry in motion, Ji wasn't born to blend in. He was born to shine. From his breakout role in Healer to leading global hits like The K2 and Suspicious Partner, he didn't just play heroes, he became the fantasy. But when your smile is flawless and your love life is spotless, people start asking questions. And in Ji's case, they never stopped. Ji Chang-wook has always been a mystery wrapped in charisma. He's done fan meetings across Asia, posed for luxury brands, and left entire stadiums screaming with just one wink. But unlike many of his peers, he's kept his personal life locked tighter than a script leak at Netflix. No public girlfriends, no dating scandals, no caught-on-camera slip-ups. In a world where even idols accidentally reveal more than they intend, Ji's record is almost too clean. It didn't take long for fan theories to swirl. From co-stars he looked too close to male friendships that felt a little too intimate. The internet lit up with speculation. Was Ji Chang-wook secretly gay, or just a master of image control? Here's the truth. Ji Chang-wook has never confirmed or denied anything. And maybe that's the most powerful move of all. While the world spins stories, Ji keeps working. He chooses projects with emotional depth, risks big with intense roles, and pours everything into his craft. Off-screen, he supports causes, takes care of his mother, and keeps fans guessing with every rare social media post. In the end, Ji Chang-wook doesn't need to explain himself. His silence isn't weakness, it's strategy, and it's made him one of the most talked about and desired actors in all of Asia. Gay? Straight? Maybe we'll never know. But in 2025, Ji Chang-wook isn't just famous. He's a riddle wrapped in a designer suit, and we can't stop watching. He had it all, then lost everything in a single night. But what happens when a broken heart becomes a global comeback story? Before the scandal, Kim Son-ho was Korea's sweetheart. With soft eyes, a gentle voice, and that signature shy smile, he stole hearts across Asia in startup and hometown cha-cha. He wasn't loud, he wasn't flashy, but there was something magnetic about the way he lit up the screen. Quietly, powerfully, like a tide you didn't see coming. Audiences loved him not just for the roles he played, but for the warmth he carried into every scene. He wasn't just acting, he was healing people. By 2021, Kim Son-ho had become the name every drama fan knew and trusted, until that trust shattered. One anonymous post, that's all it took. Overnight, he vanished. Not just from TV, but from public life. Brands dropped him, fans turned, scripts rewrote without him. No interviews, no rebuttals, just silence. While others speculated, Kim Son-ho disappeared, not to defend himself, but to reflect. Later, it was revealed that the scandal had been misrepresented, even twisted. But by then, the damage was done. Still, the world remembered. The love hadn't disappeared. It was just waiting for him to return. When Kim Son-ho finally returned in a low-budget play, not a blockbuster, it wasn't to reclaim fame, it was to reconnect with his art. And slowly, the world responded. Applause turned into cheers, skepticism melted into forgiveness. By the time he appeared in The Child, a noir action film far from his romantic roots, he wasn't just back, he was reborn, stronger, quieter, deeper. Today, Kim Son-ho stands not just as a star, but as a survivor of public heartbreak. His story is a reminder. In a world that cancels fast and forgives slow, sometimes the softest voice comes back with the loudest grace. He was never supposed to be a heartthrob. In fact, when Song Kang first appeared on screen, most casting directors didn't see him as a leading man. Too quiet, too soft, too understated. But it was exactly that softness, the quiet way he drew you in, the subtle ache in his eyes, that turned him into one of Asia's most magnetic young stars. Born in 1994 in Suwon, South Korea, Song wasn't chasing fame from childhood. He didn't grow up in the spotlight. He studied film and theater at Konkuk University and kept his head down, perfecting his craft while others chased the flash. And when his breakthrough finally came, it wasn't loud. It was emotional. It was Love Alarm that lit the fuse. Playing a boy caught in a digital love triangle, Song Kang didn't just act, he unfolded on screen. His portrayal felt lived in, fragile, dangerously real. Fans didn't just watch him, they felt him. Then came Sweet Home, a dark, psychological horror where he flipped the script and revealed something even deeper, vulnerability beneath survival. Suddenly, he wasn't just a pretty face, he was a storm of contradictions, gentle yet intense, reserved but electric, and with roles in Nevertheless and Forecasting Love and Weather, he blurred the line between actor and emotion itself. Each performance was a window into something more complex than words, something quietly haunting. But with the rise came the whispers. The questions no one dared ask outright, but everyone kept repeating. Why does he avoid dating rumors? Why the deeply intimate chemistry with certain male co-stars? Why does he say so little about his personal life? Some say he's just private. Others claim there's something more. A hidden truth. A side of Song Kang that only shows through glances and silence. In 2025, the internet is still buzzing with speculation. But he remains unreadable, untouchable, unforgettable. Whether the rumors are true or not almost doesn't matter. Because Song Kang has already done what few ever manage. He's made mystery into magnetism. And no one can look away. He had the face of a fairy tale prince, soft eyes, perfect skin, and a smile that lit up screens across South Korea. But behind the boyish charm of Yoon Si-yoon was a story few ever expected. Born Yoon Dong-gu in 1986, he grew up in the quiet seaside city of Suncheon. Raised by his grandparents, he didn't have the luxury of a typical childhood. There was no spotlight, no red carpet, just the firm hands of discipline, and a young boy who buried his feelings to survive. When he finally stepped into the acting world, it wasn't ambition that led him. It was hunger. Hunger for something more. For a space to feel seen. He got it. His breakout role in High Kick Through the Roof, 2009, made him an overnight star. Suddenly, he was everywhere, a symbol of youthful innocence in a country obsessed with image. But with fame came the pressure to be perfect. He was boxed in, too soft to be manly, too delicate to be bold. The industry loved his face, but never asked about his heart. The hidden years, the silent rumors. As his fame grew, so did the whispers. He was too private, too gentle. He didn't date publicly. He didn't chase headlines. Some fans swore he had a girlfriend. Others claimed he was asexual. But the loudest, most persistent rumor? That he might be gay, and hiding it. Yoon never confirmed or denied anything. Instead, he disappeared. In 2014, at the peak of his popularity, he quietly enlisted in the Marine Corps, South Korea's toughest military branch. It was unexpected, intense, almost like a punishment. But he returned 2 years later, changed, sharper, still kind, still soft-spoken, but with a weight in his eyes that hadn't been there before. And then came The Noctu Flower, Psychopath Diary, and Train, roles darker, stranger, bolder than before. He stopped trying to please. He started telling stories that made people uncomfortable. And in those roles, full of tension, pain, and complexity, many saw reflections of a man finally setting himself free. Still a mystery, still magnetic. To this day, Yoon Si-yoon remains one of Korea's most enigmatic stars. He doesn't flaunt his private life. He doesn't explain the choices that confuse fans. And maybe that's the point. Some stories don't need to be labeled to be powerful. Some identities don't need confirmation to be true. He may never tell the world who he truly is, but through his work, he's already said enough. Each story was a glimpse into a hidden world, powerful, emotional, and real. If these voices moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep telling the stories that matter. You thought you knew what a K-pop idol looked like. Think again. Kim Ji-woong didn't just break the mold. He melted it. From the outside, he was the classic heartthrob. Sharp jawline, soulful eyes, and that effortless cool that made fans swoon. But behind the fan cams and flashing lights, Ji-woong was waging a quiet war, not against anyone else but within himself. Born in 1998 in South Korea, he entered the world of entertainment as a trainee and actor long before he found global attention in the BL drama The Uncanny Counter, and later, Kissable Lips. At first, it was just another gig. But the deeper he stepped into queer roles, the more something inside him stirred, a longing to stop pretending. In 2023, everything changed. Ji-woong joined the survival show Boys Planet, not as an actor, but as himself. And fans didn't just notice him, they felt him. His vulnerability, his sincerity, his quiet strength, it all radiated. The more the cameras followed him, the more impossible it became to hide. He never said the words outright, but he didn't have to. Every gesture, every performance, every subtle silence screamed the truth louder than any confession ever could. Fans began to connect the dots, and they didn't judge, they embraced. Today, Kim Ji-woong stands as something rare in South Korea's rigid entertainment scene. A male idol unafraid to toe the line between fiction and truth, between romance and resistance. He hasn't labeled himself, and maybe he never will. But in a country still learning how to love out loud, his quiet courage speaks volumes. He's not a headline, he's a heartbeat, steady, strong, and impossible to ignore. He's the kind of man who makes you question reality. Is he even real? Cha Eun-woo doesn't just turn heads, he freezes time. With a face sculpted like a Renaissance statue, eyes that hold galaxies, and a voice that drips calm confidence, he's been called the face genius of South Korea. But behind that flawless surface lies a man who's walked a razor-thin line between fantasy and pressure, between idol worship and personal truth. Born Lee Dong-min in 1997, he didn't dream of being a star. He was smart, quiet, and deeply disciplined, the kind of student teachers remembered. But once he entered the K-pop world as part of Astro, the spotlight followed him everywhere. Fans fell hard, not just for his looks, but for the way he made you feel seen, even through a screen. He didn't chase fame, fame chased him. Yet with every new drama, magazine cover, and brand deal, something stayed hidden. The man behind the perfection remained just out of reach. Rumors followed, not scandals. Whispers. Was he just too good to be straight? Was his polished charm masking something more vulnerable, more private? From affectionate moments with male co-stars to interviews full of dodged questions, fans couldn't help but wonder. He's never confirmed anything. Never needed to. And maybe that's what makes him even more fascinating. He's not just an idol. He's a mystery people want to solve. In 2025, Cha Eun-woo stands as a symbol of both beauty and restraint, a walking contradiction in a world that demands transparency but feeds on illusion. Whether queer or simply queer-coded by his elegance, he's become a cultural mirror, reflecting what we desire and what we fear to name. And maybe, just maybe, that's his quiet rebellion. But if Eun-woo is the silent enigma of Korean stardom, Yo Jin-gu is the storm that never asks for permission. Let's meet him. He was never just a child actor. He was a storm in training, and by the time the world caught on, it was too late to look away. Yo Jin-gu burst onto the screen at age 8 with a stare that said, "I know more than I'm letting on." While most young actors were coached to be cute, Jin-gu brought weight, a depth far beyond his years. In Sad Movie, his tears felt earned. In The Moon Embracing the Sun, he wasn't just a prince, he was heartbreak wrapped in royal silk. By the time he was 16, critics weren't asking if he'd make it. They were wondering how far he'd go. Then came the shift. Instead of leaning into safe, glossy roles, Jin-gu chose darkness. He dove headfirst into thrillers like Hwae, A Monster Boy, playing a teen raised by criminals, torn between instinct and morality. It was bloody, brutal, and unforgettable. That performance earned him Best New Actor and something more important, respect. In an industry obsessed with image, Jin-gu dared to challenge it. He wasn't here to be liked, he was here to be real. But behind the intensity is a quiet, thoughtful man. Off camera, he speaks slowly, listens deeply, and never rushes. There's a reason he's been called an old soul in a young face, and it shows in everything he does, from sci-fi dramas like Circle to quiet romances like Hotel del Luna. Jin-gu doesn't chase trends, he builds legacies, one role at a time. And just when you think you've seen all he can do, he flips the script again. From prodigy to powerhouse, Yeo Jin-gu remains one of Korea's most intriguing talents. But he's not the only one rewriting what it means to be a leading man. Because up next is Lee Joon-gi, the action star with a poet's heart. They called him the flower boy of Joseon. But Lee Joon-gi was never content with just being beautiful. From the moment he broke out in The King and the Clown, Lee rewrote the rules of Korean masculinity. At a time when male leads were stoic, strong, and silent, he dared to wear makeup, shed tears, and let vulnerability take center stage. It was shocking and magnetic. Audiences didn't just watch him, they felt him. Born in Busan in 1982, Lee wasn't handed fame. He fought for it, audition after audition, scraping by with part-time jobs until that one iconic role changed everything. And yet, even after The King and the Clown made him a star, he refused to coast. Lee dove headfirst into action dramas, tortured anti-heroes, and twisted love stories. From Iljime to Moon Lovers, he bled for every frame, performing his own stunts, sacrificing sleep, and turning every role into an all-or-nothing experience. But with fame came whispers. For over a decade, Lee's romantic life remained a locked box. Fans speculated, paparazzi hunted, and through it all, Lee stayed silent. Some claimed he was secretly dating powerful figures in the industry. Others believed he was hiding something far more personal. The rumors intensified when he played openly affectionate roles with male co-stars, showing chemistry that felt almost too real. Still, Lee neither confirmed nor denied. He let the work speak, and the mystery grow. Now in his 40s, Lee Joon-gi has become a master of reinvention. He's no longer just the pretty face from period dramas, he's a cultural icon, a fighter, a survivor in an industry that chews up soft men and spits them out. Yet even today, there's something about him that feels unreadable, elusive, like a man still holding on to his deepest truth. But maybe that's the power of Lee Joon-gi, not in what he shows us, but in what he withholds. And speaking of men who balance charm with mystery, get ready to meet the boy next door who grew into a heart-stealing icon, Park Hyung-sik. They thought he was just another pretty face, an idol packaged for screaming fans, polished, rehearsed, and replaceable. But Park Hyung-sik didn't just break the mold, he melted it and then rewrote the rules. Born on November 16, 1991, in Yongin, South Korea, Hyung-sik started his journey in the boy band ZEA, where his looks made headlines long before his talent got the spotlight. But behind that flawless face was an actor waiting to be taken seriously. And when the roles finally came, so did the transformation. He wasn't just the cute one anymore, he was a force. From his breakout performance in Strong Woman Do Bong-soon, where he blended boyish charm with raw vulnerability, to his haunting role in Happiness, Hyung-sik proved he wasn't here to follow. He was here to lead. His eyes speak before his lips ever do. And when he cries on screen, it feels like your own heart is breaking with him. But fame hasn't hardened him. If anything, it's softened the world around him. Fans praise his grounded nature, his quiet empathy, and the way he lifts every co-star he works with. Even off-screen, he walks like someone who knows who he is and isn't afraid to love gently in a world that often worships hardness. And maybe that's the real reason he stands out. Not just for what he says, but for how deeply he listens. Not for how loud he is, but for how much you feel when he says nothing at all. From idol stages to royal dramas, Park Hyung-sik's evolution is one of grace, grit, and unshakable depth. And yet, some of his most powerful performances haven't even come from a script, but from the lifelong friendship that's defined his career. Because standing right beside him, in more than one drama and countless behind-the-scenes moments, is another man who rose just as high, just as true, and captured hearts with a fire of his own. Park Seo-joon. The man who didn't just become his co-star, but the kind of friend who changes everything. He didn't just charm audiences, he redefined what it means to be a Korean leading man. Park Seo-joon burst into the spotlight with a quiet intensity that couldn't be ignored. From his breakout role in Kill Me, Heal Me to the global smash of Taewon Class, he didn't play characters, he became them. Each glance, each pause, each restrained emotion bubbling beneath the surface. Seo-joon didn't need to shout to be heard, he made stillness powerful and vulnerability magnetic. In a world of over-polished idols, he gave us raw humanity. But fame isn't a fairy tale, not even for someone like him. As his star rose, so did the whispers. Why did he keep his dating life so fiercely guarded? Why, in the age of constant online access, was Park Seo-joon the one star you couldn't figure out? Some fans speculated he was protecting a same-sex relationship, others insisted he was just intensely private. Neither camp had proof, and he never gave them any. That silence only deepened the intrigue. Even when tabloids tried to link him romantically with other actors or idols, Park never played along. He stayed focused, stayed grounded, and in doing so, he became one of the most respected and enigmatic figures in all of K-drama land. Now, as he steps into the global spotlight with Marvel's The Marvels, Park Seo-joon stands not just as an actor, but as a symbol of dedication, of quiet rebellion, of a man who refused to let the industry write his story for him. Whatever the truth is behind the rumors, whether he's straight, gay, or simply uninterested in labels, one thing is clear. Park Seo-joon doesn't exist to satisfy curiosity. He exists to create, to inspire, and to remind us all that the most powerful roles are the ones that don't fit in boxes. That's not just acting. That's legacy. They've sparked fan wars, lit up red carpets, and left a trail of rumors in their wake. Whether the whispers are true or not, one thing's for sure. These 10 Korean heartthrobs have captured more than just attention. They've captured imaginations. In a world obsessed with labels, maybe mystery is their greatest power. But now it's your turn. Who surprised you the most? Who's your ultimate bias? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time on for more untold stories behind the spotlight. What if K-pop's real love stories were never sung, just hinted at? Not in lyrics, but in glances, matching hoodies, and suspiciously close friendships. These 10 male idols didn't confirm anything, but they didn't exactly deny it either. No statements, just soft stares, cryptic posts, and fan theories with full PowerPoint decks. So grab your popcorn, because we're diving into the rumors the industry tried to ignore and the fans refused to forget. From the moment he stepped on stage, Shim Changmin didn't just perform, he owned the spotlight. Born in Seoul on February 18, 1988, he was still a teenager when SM Entertainment discovered him. At 15, he became the youngest member of TVXQ and would soon help shape the sound of an entire generation of K-pop. With a soaring voice and carved visuals, Changmin turned heads, but it was his discipline that set him apart. While others followed trends, he studied the craft. Offstage, he was quiet, thoughtful, and intensely private, a contrast to the spectacle of fame. TVXQ's success was massive but turbulent. When the group fractured, Changmin chose loyalty. Alongside Yoonho, he revived TVXQ as a duo, filling stadiums again, not with drama, but with talent and grace. But even the most private stars can't escape the spotlight forever. In 2014, fans erupted when paparazzi captured Changmin and Minho of SHINee attending a concert together, laughing, leaning close, almost too close. Rumors exploded. Was this friendship or something more? Chang Minho was born, a nickname whispered across forums and timelines. Some called it love, others shrugged it off. Neither idol addressed it, and maybe that was the point. Their silence left space for wonder and for interpretation. The bond between them, whatever it was, felt quietly rebellious in an industry obsessed with perfection. And while the gossip faded, the questions it raised lingered. about connection, performance, and the unseen lives idols live behind the curtain. Through it all, Changmin stayed focused. He branched into acting, writing, and eventually marriage, tying the knot in a quiet ceremony with someone outside the industry. He never courted headlines. He let his legacy grow slowly, quietly, like roots beneath the surface. Today, Changmin is no longer just an idol. He's a bridge between generations, between silence and expression, between what we see and what we feel. And as the light softens on his chapter, another name begins to rise from the shadows. He didn't arrive with thunder. He arrived like a whisper, and somehow the world still listened. Lee Taemin debuted at 14, the youngest and shiny, with hair in his eyes and movements too fluid for his age. Born July 18, 1993, in Seoul, he wasn't introduced as a frontman. He was the quiet one, the dancer, the mystery. But even then, something about him felt untouchable, like he danced to a song the rest of us hadn't heard yet. He didn't chase the spotlight, he pulled it toward him. With every comeback, he evolved, from boy to artist, from idol to enigma. His solo work wasn't just music, it was performance art. Move and Criminal weren't just songs, they were statements. He blurred lines, masculine and feminine, control and surrender. But while his artistry was loud, his life stayed silent. He never sought attention, yet the world kept watching, especially his bond with Kai from EXO. They trained together, danced together, vacationed together, and sometimes looked at each other a little too long. Were they best friends or something more? There was no scandal, just chemistry, the kind you don't fake, nothing confirmed, nothing denied. In true Taemin fashion, he let the mystery breathe. In a world obsessed with answers, he remained beautifully undefined. Then came the enlistment. In 2021, he joined the military, and things got difficult. Anxiety, depression, an early transfer to public service. For the first time, the world saw the cost. But even then, he didn't disappear. He returned, older, quieter, stronger. He became the kind of artist others imitate, but never match. Idols cite him as inspiration. Choreographers call him a muse. Editors label him a chameleon. But Taemin never asks for praise. He earns it by becoming every note, every line, every silhouette. There's a loneliness in being original, and Taemin wears that solitude with grace. You won't find him oversharing on variety shows, but you'll find him in the pauses, in the tears, in the way he disappears into the music. His connection with Kai? Real. Whatever name it deserves, friendship, soulmates, or something more, it changed both of them. And maybe that's all that matters. He didn't shout to be seen, he whispered, and still millions turned to watch. Because some stars don't burn brightest. They haunt you long after the lights go down. He was never the shy one. From his very first appearance, Choi Minho radiated confidence. Born December 9, 1991, in Incheon, he entered the world of K-pop not as a boy chasing dreams, but as a force destined to leave a mark. When SHINee debuted in 2008, Minho was instantly recognizable, the tall, handsome one with fire in his eyes and swagger in his step. He wasn't just an idol, he was an icon in the making. But for all his bravado on stage, there was a quiet intensity beneath the surface. Minho wasn't loud because he wanted attention. He was loud because he believed in something. In his team, in his purpose, in himself. Nicknamed the Flaming Charisma, he wore his passion like armor. Yet behind the scenes, he was famously loyal, soft-spoken with staff, fiercely protective of those he loved. SHINee rose fast, and Minho rose with them, as a performer, an actor, a host, an athlete, and later a soldier. In every arena, he competed like he had something to prove, not to others, but to himself. And then came the photos. In 2014, a night out with Changmin, just two friends at a concert became tabloid wildfire. The images were harmless, two men laughing, standing close. But this was K-pop, where even proximity could be provocative. Fans dubbed them Chang Minho. For some, it was wishful thinking. For others, a revelation. Neither idol addressed the rumor, and in that silence, a myth was born. Minho never corrected it, never fed it either. Because he wasn't there to explain, he was there to work, to grow. And he did. Over the next decade, He starred in acclaimed dramas, released solo music, and served in the military with honor. He didn't just endure the system, he thrived in it. He walked back into the spotlight every time, head high, mission clear. Yet something in his gaze never changed. That burning intensity, but also a quiet longing. It surfaced in soft moments, a lyric, a look, a late-night post. Mino didn't need a headline to be remembered. He built his name on discipline and grace. He stayed when others faded. He smiled when it hurt. And when he stepped on stage without choreography, without lights, he still held the room. Not because he tried, but because he always could. And now, as his shadow stretches behind him, another figure steps into the uncertain glow of center stage. Some idols are made, others are born dancing. Kim Jong-un, the world knows him as Kai, was born on January 14, 1994, in Suncheon, South Korea. From an early age, he knew who he was on stage, even if the world hadn't caught up yet. He trained hard, mastering ballet, jazz, and hip-hop before most kids had finished middle school. When he debuted with EXO in 2012, his impact was instant. There was no warm-up, no trial run. From the moment he moved, the world followed. He didn't just dance, he devoured space. Every stage, every beat, every camera flash bent around him. Fans didn't just watch Kai, they surrendered. From the snarling charisma of Growl to the sensual precision of his solo work, he became the embodiment of K-pop cool. But while the world screamed for Kai, Jong-un, the quiet boy from Suncheon, stayed hidden. The more the lights burned, the deeper into himself he slipped. And then there was Taemin. Oh, Taemin. The best friend, the artistic soulmate, the maybe something more. Fans had always noticed the tension, the kind that doesn't need a script. They trained together, moved together, breathed together. But when paparazzi caught them walking alone late at night, no managers, no staff, just matching black hoodies and suspiciously glowy skin, the internet lost its mind. Twitter exploded, fan forums melted. Kaimin became more than a pairing, it became a war zone. Were they dating? Were they roommates who watched too many Wong Kar-wai films? Why did Kai smile more around Taemin than literally anyone else on Earth? One fan swore they counted 13 eye glances in a single 30-second interview. Another claimed Taemin's Spotify playlist was basically a love letter. Kai never confirmed, never denied. He simply smirked. And in that smirk lived 1,000 sleepless nights for fans and shippers alike. It didn't matter what label anyone wanted to slap on it, because for those who watched closely, too closely, the story was already written, in subtle touches, in secret vacations, in silence. And if it wasn't true, well, then why did it feel like it was? Years passed. New idols came, trends changed, scandals came and went. But the Kai Taemin mystery, it stayed. Like a well-loved rumor, like a secret no one wanted solved. And maybe that's the beauty of it, the not knowing. The possibility. Because in a world desperate for answers, they gave us something rarer. A question that still makes people blush. Kai didn't explain. He disappeared into movement, into music, into myth. Because sometimes the things that are most real don't need to be said out loud. Leo never needed to shout. While others posed and performed, he stood still and somehow stole the room. Born Jung Taek-woon on November 10, 1990 in Seoul, he didn't dream of fame the way most idols did. He was an athlete first, a football player with fire in his chest, until injury rerouted his path. Music became his second chance. Not the kind built for crowds, but the kind that whispered in headphones. His voice was velvet over broken glass. Delicate, but never weak. When he debuted with VIX6 in 2012, Leo quickly became the group's emotional core. His aura was unreadable, his presence magnetic. Fans described him as a paradox, distant but intense, cold on camera but disarmingly soft in interviews. He wasn't the type to beg for love, but when he sang, he gave it all away. Ballads, musicals, solo work, Leo carved out a reputation as one of K-pop's most soulful voices. A quiet storm, unshakable. Until one caption cracked the silence. It was just a photo. A simple shot of Leo and Xiumin, the beloved hung from EXO, leaning close, smiling like they had the world to themselves. But it wasn't the picture that set fire to fan forums. It was the caption, "I love this kid." In 5 words, Leo did what tabloids, shippers, and thousands of fan cams had tried and failed to do. He opened a door. Xiumin didn't reply. No hearts, no likes, just silence. But the internet didn't need confirmation. It needed only a spark. And Leo gave them one. Within hours, Leo Min was trending. Fans dug up receipts, shared stages, private interactions, overlapping vacations. Every glance, every touch became data. Was it a joke, a slip, a soft reveal? No one knew. And Leo wasn't explaining. He never addressed it, not in interviews, not on lives, not even in passing. But the post stayed, unedited, undeleted. And somehow, that said more than 1,000 statements ever could. Years later, fans still come back to it, like returning to a poem you once memorized but never really understood. It wasn't a scandal, it wasn't a confession, it was just human. And that's what made it revolutionary. In an industry built on perfection, Leo had always played by his own rhythm. But for one brief moment, he let the world see something unscripted. A line that felt more like a heartbeat than a headline. Whether it was friendship or something softer, deeper, it didn't need a name. Because some stories don't require endings, just echoes. In that moment, Leo didn't just break the rules, he rewrote them. Not with scandal, but with sincerity. Not with a scream, but with a whisper that's still echoing. And maybe, in the end, that's the kind of love story people never forget, the one that never had to be told. He wasn't the loudest in the room. He was the one you noticed when everything else went quiet. Born Kim Min-seok on March 26, 1990, in Guri, South Korea, Xiumin was the oldest member of EXO, but never the flashiest. He had a face that didn't age, a voice that felt like comfort, and a work ethic that rarely needed words. He didn't chase the spotlight. He supported it. While others performed like fire, he moved like gravity. Steady, grounded, essential. He sang, danced, acted, and served his military duty with honor. And through it all, he remained a mystery. Polite, soft-spoken, and endlessly private. Until someone else opened a door. Leo, the famously guarded member of VIX, shared a photo with Xiumin, casually leaning in, smiling like it was just another Tuesday. But it wasn't the image that made fans lose their breath. It was the caption, "I love this kid." Within minutes, the internet combusted. Leo Min trended worldwide. Fans argued across time zones. Was it a joke? A sweet Hung Dong-sang moment? Or something deeper? Sides formed, evidence piled up. Fans dug into interviews, fan cams, old tweets. People who had never shipped anyone before suddenly had theories. And those who had? They built timelines, matching bracelets, shared lyrics. The silence from both idols only fueled the flames. Xiumin didn't respond. No denial. No clarification. Just a gentle, unwavering quiet. That quiet split the fandom. Some called it brave, others called it reckless. Debates turned into fights, comment sections exploded, Protect Xiumin trended alongside Leo Min is real. For days, XOLs and starlights filled the internet with think pieces, edits, memes, and accusations. But through it all, Xiumin stayed exactly as he'd always been, calm, consistent, untouched by the noise. He didn't owe the world an explanation. Maybe because the truth, whatever it was, belonged to him, and Leo, and no one else. In an industry obsessed with clarity, Xiumin reminded people that not everything needs to be explained. That affection, even if fleeting, even if ambiguous, has power. Maybe Leo's post wasn't a confession. Maybe it was just a rare moment of softness. But in K-pop, softness is radical, and so the mystery endures. Fans still scroll back to that caption, still argue, still wonder, still feel, because the best stories aren't the ones that end. They're the ones that never let you go. Some rumors start with a scandal, others start with a dinner. Kim Taehyung, known to millions as V of BTS, was used to attention. He was the kind of star people couldn't look away from. Not just because of his face, though that didn't hurt. It was the way he looked at the world. Offbeat, unfiltered, alive. In a group known for precision, he was the unpredictable heartbeat, soulful, strange, effortlessly cool. He painted in hotel rooms, wrote poetry on airplanes, stared into cameras like they were mirrors. He wasn't manufactured. He was magnetic. And that magnetism didn't just attract fans, it attracted rumors. It happened one evening. Nothing flashy, no red carpet, Just a quiet restaurant, a candid photo, and two young men sharing dinner. One of them was V. The other, Voke, a lesser-known idol from the group Limitless. They were relaxed, unguarded, alone. No staff, no entourage, just two silhouettes under soft lighting. That image, blurry, spontaneous, human, was all it took. Within hours, the internet lit up. Tevok trended worldwide. Was this a date, a secret romance, or just two friends catching up? No one knew, but no one wanted to stop guessing. Fans made theories. Some called it beautiful, others called it betrayal. The company clarified. They were friends, longtime friends, nothing more. But by then, the story had grown legs. Because something about that photo didn't feel staged, it felt real. And in an industry obsessed with image, realness is rare. V didn't explain. He moved on. Filming, performing, smiling like always. But something had shifted. People began looking at him differently. Not with suspicion, with curiosity, with wonder. Because maybe it wasn't a love story. Maybe it was just dinner. But maybe, just maybe, it was something the world wasn't ready to understand. And in a business built on noise, that quiet, fleeting moment became unforgettable. Not because it was confirmed, but because it wasn't. And sometimes the softest mysteries are the ones that echo the loudest. He didn't mean to be magnetic, he just was. Park Jimin wasn't the loudest in BTS, but he moved like he had something to say. Trained in ballet and contemporary dance, he wasn't built for chaos, he was built for grace. Every note he sang, every movement he made had precision, but his heart always ran a little wild. There was something about him that felt raw, even when everything around him was polished. When he cried on stage, it didn't feel rehearsed. It felt like watching someone peel back a piece of themselves, just enough to remind you, he feels it all. That's why when he smiled at Jungkook, people noticed. They shared rooms, shared microphones, sometimes even shared clothes. They teased each other like brothers, but the looks, the quiet glances across interviews, those didn't feel like jokes. They felt like stories no one was ready to hear. Fans started shipping them early. Jungkook wasn't just a trend, it was an ecosystem. Entire YouTube channels were built on it. Every backstage moment, every accidental touch became content. People weren't just watching, they were building a case. For some, it was proof of something romantic. For others, it was just what closeness looked like when the world keeps trying to pry you apart. Jimin never confirmed, he never denied. And that silence, it became legend. Some called it a PR move, others called it queerbaiting, but Jimin never answered to either side. He kept doing what he always did, dancing like his body held secrets and singing like his voice was cracking open his ribs. He never owed the public a confession. And maybe that's what made the story so powerful. Not the rumors, not the theories, but the way it all felt possible. Love, friendship, or something in between, it didn't matter. What mattered was the feeling. And with Jimin, it always felt like there was something just beneath the surface, waiting, but never needing to be said. He never asked to stand out. He just refused to blend in. Lee Min-hyuk of Monsta X never screamed for attention, but you saw him anyway. In a group built on hard edges and raw power, he showed up like light through glass. Soft, bright, impossible to ignore. He wore colors no one else would touch. Painted his nails. Dyed his hair shades that didn't exist in nature. But it wasn't just about aesthetics, it was energy. Min-hyuk blurred lines. His fashion wasn't feminine, it was free. His expressions weren't extra, they were honest. In a world where masculinity is often carved in stone, he chose to be water. Flowing, vibrant, real. And that's where the whispers began. He hugged the members like he meant it, held eye contact a beat too long, rested his head on shoulders without hesitation. It was easy to call it fan service until you realized he didn't turn it off when the cameras stopped rolling. He comforted, touched, and smiled like affection wasn't something to be hidden. Fans began to notice, blogs speculated, clips went viral. Was Min-hyuk just naturally warm, or was there more to it? The rumors never centered around a single moment, but a pattern. A softness that to some looked like queerness. To others, it looked like freedom. He didn't push back. He didn't perform either. He just stayed open. And that openness, it confused people. Some saw it as queer-coded, others saw it as bold allyship. Minhyuk never clarified. He didn't need to. He just kept living, painting, DJing, laughing like no one was watching, even when millions were. In a culture obsessed with defining identity, he was content being undefined. Years later, fans still debate what Minhyuk meant. Was he hinting? Was he hiding? Or was he just being? And maybe that's the bigger story. He didn't demand attention. He didn't dodge it either. He lived out loud in a way that felt rare, not because it was scandalous, but because it was sincere. And in a world that often asks men to harden, Minhyuk softened and invited others to do the same. He didn't fit the mold, so he became something better, a mirror. And what people saw in him was entirely up to them. Not every story needs to be confirmed to feel real. In K-pop, it's often the glances, the silence, the maybe that stay with us longest. Whether these rumors were truth, friendship, or just fan imagination, they made us look closer. And sometimes, that's enough. Which one surprised you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories they never meant for us to see. In 2025, Thailand's top male stars are doing more than acting. They're redefining masculinity, queerness, and what it means to be seen. Behind the fan service are stories that speak volumes, through silence, chemistry, and coded moments. Are the rumors true, or is the truth somewhere in between? At Rainbow Vibes, we don't judge. We explore the stories that spark conversation, challenge norms, and bring the LGBTQ+ experience into the spotlight. In the world of Thai entertainment, some faces don't just appear on screen, they linger. Thitiphum Tekappaikun, lovingly known as Nu, is one of those rare stars whose charm stays with you long after the credits roll. Born in 1993, this Bangkok native didn't always dream of spotlights. He was a top student, a communications grad, and a model of academic excellence, the kind of boy mothers hoped their daughters would bring home. But fate had another plan. With a bright smile and undeniable presence, Nu quickly transitioned from lecture halls to leading roles, catching the public eye through GMM TV's Boys Love series. From Kiss the Series to Dark Blue Kiss, he wasn't just acting, he was creating characters that felt real, raw, and heartbreakingly human. It was his role as Kale, the shy but strong-willed teacher in a same-sex romance, that set fire to the conversation. Audiences didn't just watch Kale and Pete, they believed in them. And at the heart of that belief was the magnetic, almost otherworldly chemistry between Nu and his co-star, Tae Tawan. The way they looked at each other in interviews, the way they joked, touched, and lingered just a beat too long. It didn't take long for rumors to swell. Were they more than just co-stars? Fan edits exploded online. Tae-Nu trended. Every interaction, every glance became fuel for the fire. Nu never confirmed, nor denied. He kept it elegant, silent, which in some ways only deepened the mystery. Years have passed, and the questions still linger in quiet corners of the internet. Some fans insist they know that no one could fake such intimacy. Others argue it's all performance. But here's what's undeniable. Nu, knowingly or not, became a symbol for fluid masculinity in Thai media. He never claimed a label, never made a statement. And maybe that, in itself, was the statement. In a culture where queerness is often coded or censored, his presence, soft, warm, open, gave thousands of young viewers permission to feel seen. Whether gay, straight, or somewhere in between, Thitiphum Tekkapaikun's legacy isn't defined by answers, but by the space he created for the questions. For years, Bright Vachirawit has been the face of modern Thai stardom, dazzling, masculine, and picture-perfect. But behind the flashbulbs and fashion shoots, a different story lingers. Whispers, tweets, fan threads that refuse to fade. Could the golden boy of Thai BL really be queer, or is this just another fantasy scripted by a generation hungry for representation? It all started with Together, the series. Bright's chemistry with Win Metawin wasn't just good, it was electric. So electric, in fact, that fans didn't just ship them, they believed in them. Every glance, every pause, every behind-the-scenes interaction fueled the fire. But it didn't stop there. In interviews, Bright always danced carefully around questions of sexuality, never denying, never confirming. Then came the photo leaks. Him partying in queer-friendly circles, attending Pride-adjacent events, following openly gay icons on social media. For many, it wasn't just about what he said, it was what he didn't say. The rumors took a sharper turn when fans discovered cryptic posts and emotional lyrics in Bright's solo music. Some interpreted them as coded confessions, others dismissed them as marketing. But when a viral thread resurfaced a moment where Bright defended LGBTQ+ rights in a live broadcast, even while others stayed silent, the speculation reignited. Was he simply an ally, or something more? In a country where coming out can cost a career, Bright's silence speaks volumes. He doesn't owe anyone a label, yet his choices, his art, and the way he shows up tell their own story. Whether he's queer or not, Bright has become a symbol of fluidity, of openness, of possibility. And maybe that's the real headline here. So what do you think? Is Bright just a brilliant actor, or is there more behind that carefully crafted smile? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it openly. What if charm itself became a question? Mike Angelo has always played the perfect heartthrob. With his flawless face, Thai Chinese heritage, and a voice that melted through screens, he wasn't just another celebrity. He was the dream. But dreams, as we know, are rarely simple. As Mike's fame grew, so did the whispers. Was it just his metrosexual style and gentle demeanor? Or was there something deeper behind those lingering looks, his all-too-private love life, and the way he seemed to glide past every romance rumor without ever confirming a thing? Fans started noticing patterns, the absence of long-term public relationships, the closeness to male co-stars, often paired with fan service moments that felt a little too natural. Some clips, especially from behind-the-scenes shoots, were dissected frame by frame, searching for glances that lingered too long, touches that looked too intimate. Then came the interviews, carefully worded, emotionally distant. He never denied the rumors outright, but he never addressed them either. That silence, it said more than words. And when he moved abroad, away from Thailand's ever-watchful spotlight, speculation only intensified. To this day, Mike Angelo remains an enigma, loved by millions but understood by few. For some fans, he's a queer icon whether he says it aloud or not. For others, he's simply a man protecting his truth in a brutal industry. Either way, the story of Mike isn't just about whether he's gay or straight. It's about what it means to live under a microscope, when your smile is your shield and silence becomes your survival. From the moment Win Medawin stepped onto the screen in Together the series, a new kind of Thai heartthrob was born. He wasn't just handsome, he was magnetic. With his warm smile, gentle eyes, and quiet confidence, Win captured hearts not just across Thailand, but around the world. As one half of the beloved Bright-Win duo, his chemistry with co-star Bright Vachirawit sparked a BL phenomenon that redefined Thai pop culture. For many fans, Win became a symbol of modern masculinity. Soft, yet strong, romantic, yet reserved. But as his fame soared, so did the whispers. It started innocently, behind-the-scenes moments, playful interviews, shared glances that felt too intimate to be scripted. But the internet noticed. Fan cameras turned into microscopes. Every tweet, every touch, every look became fuel for speculation. Was it just good acting, or something more? Then came the flood. Viral threads, shipping wars, even a trending hashtag, #WinIsGay, that sent social media into a frenzy. Win never confirmed, he never denied. But when he posted a cryptic Instagram story during Pride Month, a simple rainbow emoji quickly deleted, fans went wild. Was it an accident? Or a quiet signal in a loud world? In a region where coming out can still mean commercial risk, Win chose silence. And perhaps that silence said everything. He kept working, kept smiling, and kept showing up in roles that blurred lines between fantasy and reality. To some, that made him a master of mystery. To others, it made him a queer icon, whether he asked for it or not. Today, Win remains one of Thailand's most talked-about actors, balancing fame and privacy with unshakable grace. But one thing's for sure, in the story of Asian stardom and LGBTQ+ visibility, Win Medawin's name will always glow, right on the edge of what's said and what's left unsaid. The golden boy of Thai BL, or something more? Fuin Tangsakyun didn't just arrive on screen, he lit it up. With delicate features, soft-spoken confidence, and a presence that felt both graceful and grounded, Fuin quickly became a fan favorite in Thailand's BL scene. His breakout role in Fish Upon the Sky wasn't just a success, it was a sensation. Viewers across Asia couldn't get enough of the boy with the shy smile and surprising emotional depth. From then on, he wasn't just playing roles, he was shaping them. Tender, intelligent, and always sincere, Fuin became the kind of actor whose silence could speak louder than a monologue. But with stardom came speculation. As Fuin grew bolder on screen, especially in his chemistry-rich pairings with co-stars like Pon Narvit, fans began to wonder, was it all just acting? Or was there truth hiding beneath the surface? Interviews were dissected, hand gestures were analyzed, and every lingering gaze sparked 100 threads online. Then came Never Let Me Go, a drama that saw Fuin in a more intense, emotionally raw role, one that blurred the line between performance and personal truth. Add to that his real-life closeness with male co-stars and moments that felt just a bit too intimate, and suddenly, the rumors took on a life of their own. He never addressed them head-on, but maybe he didn't have to, because sometimes silence is its own kind of answer. Today, Fuin continues to grow as an artist, as a symbol, and as a quiet force for representation. Whether the whispers are true or not almost doesn't matter anymore. Because what he's given the LGBTQ+ community is something far greater than confirmation. It's visibility. Soft, strong, and unapologetically real. But Fuin's journey is just one piece of the puzzle. If he's the whisper in the wind, then Bas Suradat Piniwat is the quiet storm. And his story? Well, it's about to turn everything you thought you knew upside down. In a world of glittering idols and lightning-fast fame, Bas Suradat was never the loudest in the room. But maybe that's exactly why people leaned in closer. With soft eyes and a voice that could melt into any ballad, Bas didn't explode onto the Thai entertainment scene. He glowed. From his early days with the boy group SBF5 to his breakout roles in teen dramas, he was never just another pretty face. He was comfort. The boy next door who held eye contact a second too long, who always seemed to understand something deeper without ever saying a word. But with every step he took into the spotlight, the shadows behind him grew louder. Baz didn't just earn fans, he inspired loyalty, fierce, passionate loyalty. And yet, loyalty comes with questions. Why was he always so close to fellow members? Why did fans ship him so hard with certain co-stars? And why didn't he ever deny it outright? When paparazzi caught candid moments, a glance, a touch, a matching bracelet, the internet lit up. Then came the fan meets, the interviews, the cryptic social media captions. Nothing concrete, but everything suggestive. And then it happened, a leaked voice recording. Unverified, yes, but unmistakably intimate. A conversation that sounded more like a confession than small talk. Within hours, Bas Suradat trended, not for his latest song, but for the possibility of a secret he never intended to share. Bas never came out. He never addressed the rumors, not directly. But silence in showbiz is a language of its own, and for many fans, that silence said everything. It became a mirror, reflecting their own hopes, struggles, and questions about identity. Whether the rumors are true or not almost stopped mattering. Because Bas, through his gentle presence and soft defiance of norms, became something more powerful than a label. He became a symbol, a reminder that not every truth has to be shouted to be real. And maybe, in that quiet refusal to conform, he told his most honest story yet. They say some stars burn brightest, in silence. 10, born Chittafanli Chayapornkul, didn't explode onto the scene, he floated in, graceful, elusive, unbothered by the noise that usually defines fame. From his early days in SM Rookies to the global stage with NCT and Wavy, 10 never begged for attention, yet you couldn't look away. He danced like water, moved like silk, and crafted a stage presence so hypnotic that even skeptics leaned in. But while the lights were on him, he kept his heart in shadow. No loud declarations, no messy headlines, just elegance. mystery, and 1,000 quiet questions. It wasn't what he said that stirred the rumors, it was what he expressed. Ten's performances have always flirted with fluidity, in gender, in emotion, in identity. His solo tracks like Paint Me Naked and Birthday weren't just pop, they were whispers of something more. He wore makeup not as a mask, but as a statement. He blurred the lines between masculine and feminine with the ease of someone who didn't care which box you placed him in. And slowly, the questions came. Was Ten queer? Was he sending signals through his style, his gaze, his lyrical choices? Or were fans simply projecting meaning onto an artist who dared to be different? When a behind-the-scenes video surfaced of Ten affectionately hugging a male dancer, longer than what some fans considered friendly, the internet lit up. TikTok theories bloomed, Twitter threads exploded. Suddenly, Ten wasn't just an idol, he was a puzzle. But here's the twist. Ten never denied, never confirmed. He just kept dancing. And that perhaps is what made the whispers grow louder. The more he refused to conform, to label himself, to fit into Korea and Thailand's rigid celebrity expectations, the more people read into every move he made. Yet instead of shrinking, Ten expanded into fashion campaigns that celebrated androgyny, into interviews where he smiled knowingly when asked about love, into fan messages that encouraged self-acceptance without ever saying the words aloud. In a world that demands clarity, Ten offers ambiguity. But maybe that is the answer. Maybe living unapologetically between the lines is his quiet form of rebellion. Maybe his art speaks the truth his lips never need to. From the moment Pirapat Watana Satsiri, known to millions as Earth, stepped into the BL universe, something changed. It wasn't just that he looked the part, tall, elegant, expressive. It was the way he moved between vulnerability and strength, the way his eyes lingered in scenes just a little too long, like he wasn't acting, like he was living it. In A Tale of a Thousand Stars, Earth didn't just play a soldier in love, he embodied a man discovering himself. And with each role that followed, audiences didn't just watch Earth, they searched him, for signs, for truth, for something unsaid. And slowly, what began as admiration turned into curiosity. Quiet whispers, gay rumors. But the noise didn't stay quiet for long. Earth's chemistry with co-star Mix Safap was undeniable, so much so that fans created entire worlds out of their off-screen glances. The hashtag EarthMix trended for months, behind-the-scenes clips went viral, and then came the interviews. Earth always answered with grace, calm, sometimes coy, but he never shut the door completely. And that silence, it spoke volumes. When Mix came out as queer in 2024, the spotlight turned hotter. Did Earth love him back? Were the on-screen tears real? Theories bloomed. Some praised him for being subtle, others accused him of queerbaiting. Every gesture, every smile, every lack of denial was now fuel for the fire. So what's the truth? Is Earth just a brilliant actor, or is there more behind the camera? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the real question is why we need to know. Why, in 2025, do we still demand labels before we offer acceptance? Earth may never confirm anything, but in every scene, he gives a piece of himself. Honest, raw, and full of feeling. And maybe that's braver than any confession. Now it's your turn. What do you see in Earth's story? Do you believe the rumors? Or do you think we're all just reading too much into a performance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's have the conversation together. Before he became Gulf, Thailand's ultimate heart stealer, Kanawut Trepapanapong was just a quiet boy with a dream and a disarming smile. Born in 1997, Gulf stepped into the limelight with a mix of boyish charm and magnetic screen presence that was impossible to ignore. But it wasn't until Tharn Type, the series aired, that his name exploded across Asia. As Type, a college student entangled in a fiery love-hate romance with another man, Gulf delivered a performance so intense, so real, it blurred the line between fiction and truth. Fans were obsessed, not just with the character, but with the person behind the role. Suddenly, everyone was asking, was Gulf simply acting, or was he revealing something more? The chemistry between Gulf and co-star Mew Supasit wasn't just good, it was electric. Off-screen, their closeness fueled a phenomenon known as shipping, where fans imagined and demanded that the fictional couple become real. And Gulf? He didn't push back. He smiled. He leaned in. He played along at fan meets, interviews, and live streams, always giving just enough to keep the dream alive. But as the fandom grew louder, so did the whispers. The way he looked at Mew, the way he dodged questions about love and identity, it all felt like clues in a story he wasn't ready to tell. The internet turned into a courtroom, dissecting gestures, analyzing old posts, and replaying every moment of on-screen intimacy. Suddenly, Gulf wasn't just Thailand's boyfriend. He was a mystery waiting to be solved. Years later, Gulf remains one of Thailand's most bankable stars, commanding millions of fans and endless attention. But while other actors distanced themselves from their BL pasts, Gulf never disowned it. He embraced his fans, he supported LGBTQ+ causes, and yet he never labeled himself. He let the rumors swirl, sometimes louder, sometimes fading, but never quite gone. Was it strategic? Was it personal? Or was it simply Gulf protecting something fragile? His right to define himself on his own terms. In a culture where silence can be both a weapon and a shield, Gulf's journey is more than just a headline. It's a reflection of what it means to be young, beautiful, and uncertain in front of millions. The golden boy of GMM-TV. When Gemini Norawit first stepped onto the screen, it felt like a new era was beginning. With his boyish charm, soft-spoken presence, and a smile that could light up any room, he quickly became one of GMM-TV's most beloved rising stars. He wasn't just good-looking, he was magnetic. Fans didn't just watch him, they felt him. And in an industry obsessed with image, Gemini carved out his space with authenticity, warmth, and a quiet kind of confidence that never needed to shout. But fame, as always, comes with a cost. And for Gemini, that cost came wrapped in whispers. It started slow, a few moments too tender on screen, a few glances that felt unscripted, a closeness with his co-stars that blurred the line between character and reality. And soon, the internet was ablaze. Was Gemini just a great actor, or was he telling a deeper truth through his roles? The fan edits, the fan cams, the way he looked at his male leads, everything became a clue in the court of public opinion. He never confirmed, he never denied. But maybe that's what made it more powerful. Because in a world still quick to judge, Gemini held on to his mystery and let the audience decide what they believed. And maybe, just maybe, that was the bravest act of all. Gemini's story is not just about who he may or may not be. It's about how far we've come and how far we still have to go. In a region where being different still carries risk, Gemini represents the hope that someday love won't need to be hidden in shadows or coded in silence. Maybe he's just acting, maybe he's not. But maybe that's not even the point. The point is, he made people feel seen. And in 2025, that's worth everything. Which of the 10 stories we shared today moved you the most? Which one stayed with you long after the screen went dark? Drop your pick in the comments, and let's celebrate the stories that matter. The ones that challenge us, the ones that change us. In a world still full of noise and judgment, these stories remind us of one simple truth. Being yourself is the boldest thing you can do. If today's video made you think, feel, or see someone in a new light, then we've done our job. There's more to uncover, more to celebrate, and we're just getting started. So if you believe in truth, in representation, and in the power of real stories, hit that subscribe button, explore our other videos, and help us keep shining a light where it matters most. Your support means everything, and your voice is part of the change. What if Thailand's hottest heartthrobs weren't just stealing hearts, but hiding secrets? From viral stares to off-screen chemistry that feels too real, these 10 stars have sparked endless speculation, and the rumors aren't dying down. In 2025, being famous means living under a microscope. And when fans start connecting the dots, the truth or fantasy gets harder to ignore. Are these just rumors, or are they rewriting the story of Thai celebrity culture? Watch closely. You might see what the industry won't say out loud. Do you believe the whispers? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk. Jirayu Tangsrisuk, or as fans lovingly call him, James Jirayu, didn't just walk into stardom. He glided in like a modern-day Thai prince, armed with soulful eyes, disarming charm, and the kind of quiet magnetism that made people believe in love again. From modeling runways to melodramatic leghorns, James became a household name almost overnight. He was elegant without trying, talented without flaunting. Every role he took, from romantic leads to historical heroes, felt like it was written just for him. But the spotlight comes with shadows. And for James, that shadow wasn't failure, it was speculation. For years, fans and the media whispered a familiar question: is James hiding something? The rumors didn't come from scandalous behavior, but rather from silences, from friendships that seemed too close, from the absence of tabloid-worthy romances with female co-stars. Some pointed to his gentle demeanor, his soft-spoken interviews, his close relationships with male friends. Others read too much into photos, subtle glances, and social media patterns. And when he stayed silent, when he chose not to address the rumors, the silence was filled with even louder curiosity. A moment that reignited the speculation came in 2023, when James shared a heartfelt message about identity, kindness, and the freedom to be yourself. He never said the words people were waiting to hear, but he didn't have to. Whether James Jirayu identifies as part of the LGBTQ+ community or not, might not be the point. What matters more is how he's gracefully handled a career under constant watch, never letting rumors define him. In a culture still wrestling with acceptance, his quiet strength, his refusal to conform to expectations, has become a statement in itself. He reminds us that not every truth needs to be shouted. Sometimes the loudest kind of courage is simply living your truth without apology. And maybe that's why James continues to shine, not just as an actor, but as a symbol of quiet resistance in an industry that still loves its masks. From the moment Mario Maurer appeared on screen, he didn't just act, he glowed. With those soft, thoughtful eyes and an effortless charm that felt both boyish and timeless, he quickly became one of Thailand's most beloved leading men. His breakout role in Love of Siam didn't just launch a career, it sparked a conversation. In a country where mainstream cinema rarely touched LGBTQ+ themes, Mario's sensitive portrayal of a teenage boy falling in love with another boy was a quiet revolution. He was only 19, yet already shouldering the weight of an entire cultural moment. As offers flooded in, from rom-coms to international modeling gigs, one thing became clear: Mario Maurer wasn't just a star, he was a symbol. But with that kind of fame came something else. Questions. Fans began speculating: was Mario acting, or was he speaking from personal truth? His chemistry with male co-stars, his carefully private personal life, his longtime absence of public relationships, all became fodder for tabloids and internet forums. When he starred opposite men in photo shoots or showed open affection to male friends, whispers turned to headlines. Yet Mario never confirmed, never denied. Instead, he smiled through interviews, praised his fans, and let the work speak louder than the noise. Behind the scenes, rumors continued to swirl about a relationship with a male model, about coded messages in interviews, about why he stayed silent even when the world begged for clarity. But maybe that silence was his answer. As years passed, Mario remained at the top, gracefully navigating an industry that both adored and dissected him. He became a fixture in Thai pop culture. A style icon, a film veteran, and a figure of quiet defiance. While other actors courted controversy or sought clarity, Mario built a legacy on ambiguity, mystery, and integrity. Whether the rumors were true or not became less important than the fact that he never let them define him. He opened doors without slamming others shut. And in doing so, Mario Maurer reminded a generation that identity doesn't always need to be shouted. It can be lived gently and unapologetically. Tawan Vihakratana, better known as Tay Tawan, didn't explode onto the scene with a scandal or a viral moment. He arrived quietly, with elegance, intelligence, and the kind of charm that doesn't shout, but whispers. A medical science graduate turned actor, Tay wasn't just a pretty face. He was a thinker, a communicator, a performer who knew how to make hearts flutter without ever raising his voice. As he stepped into Thailand's booming BL industry, audiences were instantly drawn to the way he carried himself. Tender, precise, but never predictable. Whether hosting variety shows or melting fans in romantic dramas, Tae created a persona that felt both dreamy and grounded, as if he belonged in another world but had chosen to stay in ours. But in showbiz, especially in Asia, fame often comes with a shadow. And for Tae, that shadow took shape in the form of persistent LGBTQ+ rumors. Was it the way he looked at his co-stars? The off-screen chemistry with Nuthitipum that felt a little too real? Or maybe the quiet way he never corrected anyone who speculated? Fans analyzed every glance, every handhold, every behind-the-scenes moment like detectives chasing a hidden truth. The whispers turned into forums. Forums turned into headlines. And while Tae never publicly addressed the speculation, the silence itself became part of the mystery. It wasn't just about who Tae was, it was about who he was allowed to be in an industry obsessed with appearances. And somehow, through the storm, he remained calm, poised, graceful, as if saying, "You can wonder, but I'll never give you the script you're expecting." Tae's story isn't just about sexuality or speculation, it's about presence. In a world where actors are pushed into boxes, he has chosen ambiguity as resistance. And maybe that's why he remains such a captivating figure. He challenges us to look beyond gossip, to ask deeper questions about identity, privacy, and the pressures queer artists face in public life. If his journey has taught us anything, it's that truth isn't always spoken. Sometimes it's felt. So what do you feel when you look at Tae's story? Drop your thoughts below. Follow our channel for more bold, honest storytelling. And if Tae's journey made you think, made you feel, or made you question, stay with us, because the stories that matter most are the ones still unfolding. Before he was a name that trended across Southeast Asia, Zeepruk was just a boy with a dream and an edge. Born in Chiang Rai, he didn't take the easy route to fame. Modeling gigs came first. Sharp cheekbones, a brooding stare, and a silent charisma that didn't need much dialogue. But it wasn't until he stepped into the world of Thai BL dramas that things exploded. In Why Are You, Z didn't just play a character, he became a symbol. His on-screen chemistry with co-star Saint Supapong had fans questioning where fiction ended and something else began. Suddenly, Z wasn't just acting anymore. He was being watched, analyzed, shipped, and whispered about. It started with glances. Then came fan events, interviews, and behind-the-scenes footage. Moments that felt just a little too real. Fans began connecting dots. The way Z looked at his co-stars, the gentle way he spoke about love, the refusal to confirm any public relationship. Some called it marketing. Others called it truth hidden in plain sight. When Z publicly supported LGBTQ+ rights, the rumors reached a boiling point. Was he an ally or something more? Gossip sites and YouTube theories took off. And yet, Z remained calm, unbothered. He neither confirmed nor denied. But every smile, every subtle interaction only added fuel to a fire that refused to burn out. Through it all, Zeepruk kept building. Bigger roles, more fans, and a growing legacy as one of Thailand's most magnetic stars. But the question lingered. Who is Z when the cameras stop rolling? For many, his silence has become its own kind of power. A refusal to be boxed in, labeled, or exploited. Whether Z is gay, straight, or somewhere in between doesn't change the impact he's made. But the conversation he sparks, it matters. And maybe that's the real story. Gun Athafun didn't just walk into Thai entertainment, he burst into it. With eyes that held stories beyond his years and a presence that commanded attention, Gun was a child star who never faded. From his early breakout role in Goman, he quickly proved he wasn't here to be just another pretty face. Drama, comedy, even psychological thrillers, Gun could do it all. But it wasn't until his deeply emotional performances in The Gifted and later the beloved BL series Not Me that he carved out his legacy as one of the most dynamic, soulful actors of his generation. Fans didn't just watch Gun, they felt him. And in an industry often fixated on surface, he made feeling cool again. But with fame came the questions, the lingering glances, the roles that felt too close to reality. Gun's on-screen chemistry with co-star Off Jumpel sparked not just fan fiction, but speculation. Were they just acting, or was there something unsaid, hidden between takes and behind-the-scenes smiles? Gun, known for being open-minded yet intensely private, never labeled himself. Instead, he lived unapologetically, embracing gender-fluid fashion, speaking up about mental health, and letting his authenticity speak louder than any tabloid. Still, whispers followed him, especially after his powerful interviews about love not being bound by gender. To some, it was a hint, to others, a quiet declaration. But Gun never confirmed, and never denied. What makes Gun truly unforgettable isn't just his talent, it's his quiet courage. In a society that still struggles with rigid labels and expectations, Gun Athafon became a mirror, reflecting the possibilities of being yourself, even when the world keeps asking for answers. Whether queer, straight, or somewhere beautifully in between, Gun has shown that identity isn't a performance. It's a journey. And in choosing not to explain, he empowered a generation to stop apologizing for who they are. His story isn't about coming out, it's about being. And that might just be the boldest thing of all. Saint Supapong Udomkirkanjana didn't just step into the spotlight, he lit it up. With his debut in Love by Chance, Saint quickly became a household name across Asia, known for his boyish charm, expressive eyes, and the kind of on-screen chemistry that makes hearts race. But Saint wasn't just playing a role, he was helping to redefine what Thai entertainment could be: soft, bold, romantic, and unafraid. As the BL wave swept across the region, he stood at the front line, not just as an actor, but as a cultural symbol. While his career expanded into singing, producing, and hosting, fans remained captivated by one question: who was the real Saint behind the stardom? As his fame grew, so did the speculation. Saint's deep emotional portrayals, especially his undeniable chemistry with male co-stars, sparked countless rumors about his sexuality. Was it just great acting, or something more personal? Fans dissected every look, every gesture, every Instagram post. In 2021, his close friendship with Nuthidipum raised more than a few eyebrows, especially when they were spotted traveling together off-screen. Neither confirmed nor denied, Saint handled the rumors with grace, choosing silence over spectacle. Yet that very silence kept the curiosity burning. Some praised his courage in challenging gender norms without labels, others demanded clarity. But perhaps the truth was never meant to be spoken, only felt. Saint's story remains a mosaic of talent, tenderness, and tantalizing mystery. While he continues to evolve, launching his own company and mentoring the next generation of Thai stars, one thing is certain: he's never stopped being talked about. And maybe that's the magic. In an industry obsessed with image, Saint dares to blur the lines. He may never say the words some fans long to hear, but in every lingering glance on screen, in every unscripted laugh shared with someone special, he leaves room for interpretation and inspiration. And speaking of that someone special, let's talk about the man who's been by his side from the very beginning, Nuthidipum. Nuthidipum didn't exactly stumble into stardom. He walked in with charm, wit, and a face so symmetrical it could cause arguments in art schools. Starting off in the world of Thai BL dramas, Nu quickly became the kind of actor people remembered, not just for his good looks, but for how effortlessly he played the boy next door, with just the right touch of mystery. Whether it was in Kiss Me Again, Dark Blue Kiss, or I Feel You Linger in the Air, Nu had this magical way of making every scene feel a little warmer, a little more tender, and occasionally, just a little too convincing. Here's where things get interesting. In the world of BL, chemistry is everything. And Nu? He had enough to launch a science lab. Fans noticed, fast. His on-screen relationship with Tae Tawan wasn't just believable, it was electric. So much so that fans didn't stop shipping them when the credits rolled. Social media turned into a 24/7 speculation zone. Were they more than just co-stars? Was all that heart-fluttering intimacy just acting? Or was there something real? Nu, always composed, neither confirmed nor denied. Which, let's be honest, only made the rumors juicier. From matching outfits to playful interviews that tiptoed the line between fiction and flirtation, the internet did what it does best, memthin. But here's what makes news so fascinating. Amid all the whispers, he stayed graceful, never defensive, never dismissive. Instead of shutting down rumors, he focused on his craft, showing range and growth in every new role. He used his platform to speak about love, identity, and respect without ever turning it into a scandal. Maybe that's the real story here. In a world obsessed with labels, Nuthidipun just kept showing up as himself, kind, talented, and totally unbothered. Peak Pimapol might look like the guy you'd sit next to in a college lecture, polite, clean-cut, and maybe just a little too perfect. But give him a script, a camera, and the right lighting, and suddenly he transforms. From BL dramas to high-energy roles that mix charm with chaos, Peak carved out a space in Thai entertainment that's hard to ignore. He didn't shout for fame, he let the roles do the talking. With his soft-spoken charisma, Peak became the kind of actor that makes fans fall in love and then scroll all night through old interviews just to see him smile. As Peak's fame soared, so did the questions. Not about talent, that part was obvious, but about the vibe. You know, the way he looked at co-stars just a beat too long. The way certain scenes in his BL dramas felt just a little too natural. And then, there were the off-screen friendships, close, affectionate, and always under the microscope. Was he playing the part too well? Or was it something more? Fans on Twitter turned into amateur detectives, decoding every touch, every glance. Peak, for his part, stayed elegant and ambiguous, always kind. He didn't confirm, didn't deny, he just smiled, and somehow made the mystery even louder. What makes Peak different isn't just his looks or the way he lights up a screen. It's the calm confidence he carries in an industry that loves labels. While others rush to define themselves, Peak seems to enjoy the silence, letting fans draw their own conclusions. Whether the rumors are true, half-true, or just the product of wishful thinking, Peak Pimapol remains focused on one thing: the work. And maybe that's the boldest move of all. Because in a world obsessed with answers, he's chosen to live in the question. And somehow, that makes him even more magnetic. Bank TD rose to fame like a lightning strike. Fast, fierce, unforgettable. From his breakout role in Hormones the series, he wasn't just another handsome face on screen. He was raw, unfiltered, with expressive eyes that flickered between vulnerability and defiance. Bank quickly built a reputation as one of Thailand's most dynamic young actors. But behind the camera flashes and fan events, something else started to stir. A different kind of spotlight. Whispers turned to headlines. Was Bank more than the roles he played? More than the heartthrob millions had fallen for? In the world of Thai showbiz, staying private is nearly impossible. And for Bank, every close friendship became a subject of speculation. When fans noticed his bond with other male co-stars, especially those known in the BL boys love world, the gossip mill spun wildly. Social media lit up with screenshots, decoded moments, and threads trying to prove what he never confirmed. Some praised his fluid energy, calling him a symbol of modern masculinity. Others asked harder questions. Was he hiding something? Or just being himself in a world eager to label? Bank never issued a bold statement, but his silence spoke volumes. Each time he laughed off questions or redirected the conversation, fans were left to interpret the meaning themselves. And maybe that's where the power lies, in mystery, in ownership of one's story, even when that story remains unwritten. Whether the rumors were true or just the price of fame in the BL-fueled fandom, Bank TD remains a standout, not just for his talent, but for the quiet courage of living without needing to explain. But his is not the only story wrapped in speculation and coded glances. Because next up is someone whose charm and performances have also sparked headlines and hashtags. Perth Tanapan, the charismatic star who danced between love and fiction in front of millions. Before we get into his journey, let us know, what do you think about Bank's story? Is it just fan fantasy, or a glimpse into something more? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Support our channel with a like and follow, and get ready. Perth's story might surprise you even more. When Perth Tanapon first stepped into the limelight, no one could have predicted just how quickly he'd become a sensation. From his breakout role in Love by Chance, Perth didn't just play a character. He became the heartbeat of Thailand's new BL wave. His magnetic eyes, quiet charisma, and emotionally raw performances drew fans from all over Asia and far beyond. At only 18, he was already being called the next big thing, a symbol of youthful beauty and vulnerable masculinity. But with fame came the shadows, and in Perth's case, the whispers started early. It wasn't just the roles he played, it was the way he played them. Every longing glance, every tender touch on screen made fans wonder, was he acting or was there something more? Behind-the-scenes clips only added fuel to the fire. Perth's genuine chemistry with male co-stars, especially Saint Supapong, sparked intense speculation. Fan communities dissected every interaction. Some were convinced this wasn't just performance, it was personal. Perth, however, stayed silent. No dramatic denials, no loud declarations, just calm professionalism. And that silence? It became its own kind of answer, inviting even more questions. Was he protecting someone or protecting himself? Over the years, Perth chose depth over drama. Instead of chasing fame or fighting rumors, he leaned into his craft, growing more selective, more focused. Yet the LGBTQ+ speculation never left him. Every new project, every red carpet moment brought renewed curiosity. Some called him queerbait, others called him brave. But maybe Perth is something rarer. A young man refusing to let labels define him. Whether he ever speaks on the rumors or not, his impact is already clear. He's helped shift how masculinity is seen on Asian screens. And maybe that, more than any headline, is the legacy worth watching. And there you have it, 10 of Thailand's brightest stars, each walking the fine line between fame and speculation. But beyond the rumors, what we've really seen today is the power of curiosity, courage, and the ongoing journey toward understanding. In a world that still loves to label, these stories remind us that identity is personal, and no headline can define the whole truth. Maybe it's not about who someone loves, but how they live with authenticity, even under the spotlight. If this video gave you a new perspective or simply made you feel seen, then we've done our job. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story that matters. Check out our other videos for more voices, more truths, and more moments that make you think. They made you cry on screen, but were they telling a deeper truth off camera? These 10 Thai male stars didn't just play gay, they sparked rumors that never went away. From just friends to wait, are they actually dating? This list will make you question everything you thought you knew. Watch closely and tell us. Do you believe the rumors, or is it all just fan fantasy? Chimon Wachirawit, the pretty boy mystery no one can quite solve. Chimon Wachirawit didn't come crashing into fame with some viral moment or tabloid scandal. He drifted in, soft-spoken, sharp-eyed, and armed with the kind of face that makes casting directors whisper, "He's the one." Born in Bangkok with a camera in hand and an entire symphony of emotions behind those eyes, he made his debut not by force, but by inevitability. It wasn't a question of if Chimon would be famous, it was when. His breakout in The Gifted as Wave, the tortured, brooding genius, didn't just show his acting skills, it revealed something else. Something more magnetic. From Never Let Me Go to The Warp Effect, every role seemed to blur the lines between deep friendship, longing stares, and just enough tension to make fans reach for the pause button. Repeatedly. Naturally, the internet did what the internet does best, speculate. Is he actually gay? Did you see that look he gave his co-star? No straight man stares like that unless he's about to propose or confess. The theories flew faster than you could say BL Renaissance. But Chimon, he stayed silent, elegant, unbothered, as if to say, label yourself, darling, I'm busy giving you emotions you didn't know you had. And here's the kicker, he plays queer-coded roles so convincingly, it's either world-class method acting or someone forgot to yell, cut. After the scene ended, he doesn't just act, he embodies The tenderness, the tension, the slow burn. Chimon serves it all, with the subtlety of a poet and the precision of a sniper. He's never publicly come out, never confirmed or denied, but that hasn't stopped fans from assembling entire Reddit threads like they're decoding ancient scrolls. And yet, maybe the truth isn't in the answer. Maybe it's in the way he makes you feel. Chimon doesn't give explanations, he gives you goosebumps. Call it mystery, call it queer energy, call it whatever you want, just don't look away, because the moment you think you've figured him out, he'll hit you with another lingering glance that says, "You have no idea." Mix Sahafap, the vet who made the world fall in love with more than just dogs. If there's one thing Mix Sahafap proves, it's that soft boys can still cause emotional earthquakes. A trained veterinarian turned actor, Mix didn't claw his way into the spotlight. He strolled in, flashing that boy next door smile that says, "Trust me, I've got this." And honestly, he really does. Mix wasn't supposed to be famous, he was supposed to spend his days hugging golden retrievers and prescribing flea meds. But fate, and a perfectly timed casting call, threw him into a tale of 1,000 stars. And with one look, one line, and one impossibly tender forehead touch, he became a cultural reset. But here's where it gets interesting. His chemistry with Earth Pirapat wasn't just believable, it was magnetic. It had fans screaming, crying, and Googling, "Is Mix actually dating Earth?" Mix handled the rumors the way he handles most things, with grace, kindness, and a touch of chaos. He never confirmed, never denied. He just posted videos of his dogs, looked stunning in soft knits, and casually destroyed gender norms with every photo shoot. One day he's giving K-drama heartthrob, the next he's giving your queer-coded crush in a Studio Ghibli film. And the fans? Oh, they felt it. From the way he held his co-star's gaze just a few seconds too long, to the gentle hand placements that were definitely not in the script, Mix built a brand on sincerity and a whole lot of "is this acting or?" He's never worn labels, only confidence. Never spoken loudly, only clearly. And maybe that's what makes him stand out. In a world of performative personas, Mix feels real, grounded, unbothered. The kind of guy who could break your heart, then apologize by baking you cookies shaped like tiny corgis. And just when you think Thai BL can't surprise you anymore, along comes someone who breaks the mold while looking like he ironed it first. Someone like Tulpacorn, a man whose charisma is as polished as his jawline. Tulpacorn, the gentleman who made ambiguity irresistible. If Thai BL had a royal court, Tulpacorn would be seated at the head table, sipping wine, crossing his legs, and casually redefining masculinity. There's something about Tul that feels deliberate, controlled, elegant. He doesn't just walk into a scene. He arrives, with the poise of a classic movie star and the smile of someone who's been quietly reading your thoughts. Born as Pakorn Tanasravanichai, Tul came into the BL world at a time when it was still finding its voice. But he didn't whisper. He delivered. His role in Together With Me wasn't just steamy, it was seismic. The chemistry between him and Max Notapol left viewers stunned, rewinding scenes like forensic analysts looking for signs of real love. And honestly, some of those glances felt less scripted, more instinctive. The rumors came fast. Are Tul and Max a real couple? Is Tul actually gay? Was that kiss just acting? Tul didn't panic, he leaned in, attended fan events with Max, posted selfies that were just ambiguous enough. He never gave fans a clear answer. And that might be his genius. He turned suggestion into an art form. But beyond the fan service, Tul offers something rare, grace. He's one of the few BL actors who can make silence feel like dialogue, who can play desire without a single touch. And in a genre often driven by explosive drama, Tul gives us something slower, smarter, more adult. Still, that mystery lingers. He's played so many men in love with men so convincingly for so long, fans can't help but wonder, was it just the role? Or has Tul always known something about himself that he's not quite ready to say out loud? And here's the fun part. Maybe we're not supposed to know. Maybe that's the point. But we'll keep watching. Because Tul doesn't just portray romance. He leaves us craving answers long after the credits roll. So what do you think? Was Tull simply born to play BL royalty, or is there something more behind that smirk? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're dying to hear your take. Toptep, the chaos king of chemistry. If you've ever watched a Thai series and found yourself falling for the funny best friend, there's a good chance it was Toptep, and an even better chance you didn't expect him to steal every scene like a polite, well-dressed thief. Toptep's career has always danced on the edge of seriousness and chaos. He's the guy who can land a joke with perfect timing, and then immediately make you question your sexuality with one raised eyebrow. Whether he's playing a comic relief character, a lovesick roommate, or a secretly smitten friend, he makes it all feel strangely real. Too real. In Together With Me and Bad Buddy, his chemistry with male co-stars didn't just sparkle, it crackled. And no, it wasn't the lighting, it was the way he lingered just half a second too long in a glance. The way his voice dipped one note lower than necessary. The way you found yourself blushing at scenes that weren't even supposed to be romantic. Cue the speculation. Is Toptep just naturally flirty? Is he the king of fan service? Or is he hiding a personal truth behind those dimples and dad jokes? He's never said. In interviews, he's all smiles and shrugs. But fans don't forget. They rewatch, they analyze, they turn his off-screen friendship with Gun Athafan into Reddit threads worthy of a crime documentary. But here's the thing. Toptep knows. He knows exactly what he's doing. And he does it better than most. He's made ambiguity into a superpower and turned every accidental touch into an intentional headline. You can call it queerbaiting. You can call it brilliance. Either way, you're still watching, still wondering. And hey, if you want us to keep bringing you these stories, these layers, these legends, these deliciously confusing heartthrobs, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button, show some love, because every click is fuel for us to dig deeper, go bolder, and give you even better content. Let's keep the drama alive together. Great Sapple, the quiet flame you didn't see coming. In a world full of loud charmers and dramatic show stealers, Great Sapple walks in like a slow-burning candle. No flash, no fuss, just warm light that stays with you long after the scene ends. His name may not scream headline, but his presence lingers like a song you didn't know you loved until it was gone. Great isn't the type to flood your feed with shirtless photos or viral memes. He doesn't need to. He acts with his eyes, delivers with silence, and lets his vulnerability do the heavy lifting. His performances are about nuance, the kind of raw softness that doesn't ask for attention but earns it anyway. In roles like Love by Chance and On of Love, Great carved out a special space, one where masculinity isn't loud but gentle. His characters often carry an ache just beneath the surface, and he plays it with such restraint. It almost feels too intimate, like you've stumbled onto someone's diary and can't look away. Of course, the stillness didn't go unnoticed. Fans began to wonder, who is he when the cameras stop? Why does his chemistry with certain co-stars feel unusually honest? Why do his off-screen friendships with fellow actors seem to blur lines we thought were clear? To his credit, Great never plays into speculation. He doesn't tease, he doesn't dodge. He simply lives, privately, kindly, authentically. And maybe that's his power. He reminds us that some people don't need to speak loudly to be heard. They just have to be real. We've met the fire starters, the mystery men, the soft hearts, and the scene stealers. 5 faces, 5 stories, and 5 very different kinds of charm. But now it's your turn to weigh in. Which one of these 5 made you pause, smile, or feel something you didn't expect? Hit the comments and cast your vote. Tell us, who owns your heart so far in this lineup? Your pick might just lead the way in our next deep dive. Baun Noppanet, the charmer who gave flirting a full-time job title. Let's be honest, subtlety has never been Baun's thing, and thank God for that. In Until We Meet Again and Between Us, Baun didn't just act, he ignited. Every look, every brush of a hand, every smirk felt suspiciously illegal. Fans didn't just fall in love with his characters, they filed emotional damage claims. And Prem Warut, That on-screen chemistry was so intense it had people whispering soulmates and checking flight prices to Thailand. The rumors weren't just a ripple, they were a Category 5 fandom hurricane. Was it acting? Was it personal? Is Baun the king of fan service, or is he hiding an epic love story behind that Instagram filter? No answers, just vibes. And honestly, that may be Baun's greatest power, leaving you wonderfully, hopelessly confused. Now let's rewind a bit. Before he set screens on fire, Baun Noppanuut walked into the industry like he already had his own theme music. He doesn't chase attention. He strolls past it, looks back, and winks. That sharp jawline, weaponized. That mischievous grin, trademarked. He's the kind of guy who could say, oops, after breaking the internet and somehow make you say thank you. But behind the charm and the chaos is a man who knows exactly what he's doing. Baun isn't a viral accident, he's a calculated phenomenon. He brings the heat, the headlines, and the humor while keeping his cards perfectly close to the chest. That wink might be a tease or a truth bomb. You'll never know, and he likes it that way. Still, no matter how many edits or shipping wars the internet throws at him, Baun keeps the act tight, the energy high, and the mystery alive. He doesn't just play roles, he plays us, and we come back for more every time. But enough about fire. What happens when flame meets still water? Let's turn to Prem Warut, the man who doesn't need to steal scenes because the camera quietly follows him anyway. Prem Warut, the soft power king who stole hearts, and probably your boyfriend's too. Prem Warut is the kind of guy who doesn't need fireworks to make a grand entrance. He just blinks, and suddenly your crush has a new crush. While Baun may bring the spark, Prem is the slow burn. The one you don't notice at first, but suddenly you're 4 episodes deep, emotionally compromised, and Googling his birth chart like a detective with feelings. What makes Prem dangerous in the best way is his stillness. He doesn't overact, he doesn't oversell. He just exists with this quiet intensity, like a cup of tea that might actually be whiskey. In Between Us, he didn't just play Win, he became him. Calm, sensitive, subtly flirty, and just mysterious enough to trigger full-blown shipping wars. And standing next to Baun, chemistry so thick, it probably violated air quality regulations. Fans didn't ask, are they close in real life? They asked, should I start planning a double wedding with them, or just emotionally implode now? Of course, the rumors swirled. Are they more than friends? Why are their Instagram captions so suggestive? Why does Prem always look at Boone like he just solved the meaning of love? Prem naturally says nothing. His silence is not avoidance, it's a whole mood. And in that quiet, something powerful happens. He becomes a mirror, reflecting not just what fans want to see, but what they hope is real. Soft masculinity, mutual respect, emotional intimacy between two men, shown not as a punchline, but as something beautiful. That's why Prem matters. He's more than just a good actor with devastatingly good skin. He's part of a quiet revolution, showing young viewers, especially in Asia, that love doesn't need permission to be valid. That affection between men can be tender, kind, and yes, marketable, without being reduced to a joke. So while we laugh and swoon and scream over every Baun Prem moment, let's not forget the bigger picture. Representation matters, and actors like Prem are helping lead that change, one soft glance at a time. Pavel Narat, the walking plot twist you never saw coming. Pavel Narat is what happens when someone decides to mix model vibes, chaotic charm, and just enough mystery to make your brain short-circuit. He's not here to play it safe. He's here to make you wonder if you should be worried or wildly obsessed. Let's be real. Pavel looks like the kind of guy who ghosted you, then showed up 3 months later, starring in a BL series that healed your abandonment issues. With that smirk, that jawline, and a fashion sense that says, yes, I know this outfit is illegal in 4 countries, he's basically the human version of a cliffhanger. But don't get it twisted. He's not just a pretty face with a confusing Instagram aesthetic. Pavel delivers. Whether he's leaning into a romantic scene with just the right amount of eye contact or pulling off roles that blur lines between best friends and accidental soulmates, he knows exactly what he's doing. And so do the fans. The gay rumors? Oh, they didn't arrive quietly. They rolled in with sirens and LED lighting. People weren't asking if Pavel was into guys. They were asking how many and where do we sign up. His off-screen friendships, his fluid energy, that one interview where he answered a question about dating with way too much ambiguity. But here's the plot twist. Behind all that Gen Z chaos and main character energy, there's actually a thoughtful artist. Someone who respects the LGBTQ+ community enough not to use queerness as a gimmick. Who chooses roles that say something, not just sell something. And in this industry, that matters. So maybe we'll never know what Pavel's real deal is, but maybe we don't need to. Because sometimes visibility looks like this, bold, blurry, and entirely unboxed. Now let's switch gears. From the wild card to the golden boy, from neon lights to soft piano chords. It's time for Chris Perawat, the face of Thai BL's first wave, and still one of its most beloved enigmas. Chris Perawat, the OG heartthrob who sparked more than just a fandom. Before BL took over the internet, Chris Perawat was already rewriting the rules. His breakout as Arthit in Sodas the series wasn't just a role, it was a movement. Paired with Singto Prachaya, their slow-burn romance had fans organizing imaginary wedding registries and building shrines to Pariah. Naturally, the rumors came in hotter than a Thai summer. Are they dating? Is Chris gay? Why does every glance feel like a love confession? Fan cams, edits, conspiracies, it all snowballed fast. Chris didn't help clarify. In some interviews, he blurred the lines between reality and fiction like a pro. In others, he just grinned and let the fans run wild. But things peaked between 2017 and 2018, as Sodas S and Our Sky brought the duo back together. Their off-screen chemistry? Let's just say it kept fan fiction writers very busy. Then came the infamous livestream in late 2018. Asked about same-sex couples, Chris nervously chuckled and said something like, "Guys usually prefer male-female." Cue the internet implosion. Some fans were hurt, others defended him, but one thing was clear. Chris had unintentionally become a face and a flashpoint for LGBTQ+ representation. Despite the noise, Chris's career kept soaring. From music charts to lead roles, he proved he wasn't a one-hit wonder. He's not just a BL star. He's a full-fledged entertainer with range, resilience, and serious impact. Whether he's straight, gay, or dancing somewhere in between, Chris symbolizes something more. The power of storytelling, the fluidity of identity, and the way one series can change everything. And if you've made it this far in the video, you clearly care about the stories that matter. So don't miss a single one. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, and stay with us for more unfiltered stories behind Asia's most iconic LGBTQ+ moments. Let's keep the spotlight where it belongs, on truth, talent, and the freedom to just be. James Jirayu, the star who let his silence speak louder than scandal. In an industry built on noise, James Jirayu mastered the art of quiet power. While others chased fame with controversy and confession, James took a different route. Soft-spoken, steady, and devastatingly sincere. He didn't need viral moments to stay relevant. He just needed one glance from those soulful eyes, and the world paid attention. From his breakout role in Sufap Brut Juthathep, James didn't just play the romantic lead, he was the romance. Graceful, respectful, with a smile that felt like a secret only you were allowed to see. He became Thailand's golden boy, not with spectacle, but with substance. While fans swooned over his performances, the real question always lingered quietly in the background. Who is James Jirayu, really? Because off-screen, James was an enigma. He dodged gossip like a professional, offered polished answers in interviews, and left just enough room for imagination to take over. Some fans speculated wildly. Was he hiding a secret romance? Was he guarding something deeper? The rumors stretched in every direction, from mysterious co-stars to fan-edited theories that painted him as quietly queer. But James never fed the fire. He let it burn out on its own. And then, in late 2024, he dropped a surprise no one saw coming. James Jirayu got married. No press tour, no drama, Just a heartfelt post and a simple ceremony with a woman 4 years his senior, proving that while the world speculated, he was living his truth on his own terms. With that one quiet move, James reminded us what real class looks like. No explanation, no apology, just love, maturity, and a legacy that doesn't need to be shouted to be remembered. Think you've seen it all? These 10 stars are keeping one secret fans still can't stop whispering about. Behind every stare, every scene, is a truth some dare not say out loud. This isn't just about fame, it's about freedom, identity, and the power of being seen. If these stories made you feel something, stay with us. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and join the journey as we uncover more untold truths of Asian LGBTQ+ icons. What if I told you that behind Thailand's most beloved male stars, the fan meetings, the perfect smiles, the flawless skin, are whispers the industry doesn't want you to hear? In 2025, these 10 names dominate the spotlight, but it's not just for their acting or abs. It's the rumors, the glances, the unspoken truths. Which of these stories do you believe, and which ones are just fantasy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what you really think. Your voice matters. Plan Rathavit entered the Thai entertainment world like a summer breeze. Light, charming, and instantly refreshing. His breakout role in Love by Chance didn't just make him a fan favorite, it turned him into a household name across Asia. With his disarming smile and natural chemistry with co-star Min Firovich, Plan quickly became the face of soft-spoken romance in the BL genre. But as his fame soared, so did the questions. Was the magic on screen really just acting, or something more? Behind every shared glance, every lingering hug during fan meetings, the internet began to buzz. Clips of Plan and Min went viral, not just for their roles, but for the way they looked at each other off camera. The BL fandom, notorious for its obsession with shipping, took things further, decoding every live stream, dissecting body language, and pointing to behind-the-scenes moments that felt a little too real. When Plan once joked on stage that he didn't mind if people thought he was into men, it only fueled the speculation. Was it just fan service, or a subtle confession wrapped in laughter? Despite years of whispers, Plan has never publicly confirmed or denied the rumors. His social media presence remains carefully curated, his private life, just that, private. But fans still cling to every clue. The emotional posts, the cryptic captions, the moments of vulnerability he shares in interviews. In a country where LGBTQ+ representation is rising but still met with scrutiny, Plan walks a delicate line, balancing fame, identity, and the expectations of an audience hungry for both truth and fantasy. And maybe that's the real story. Not whether he's gay or straight, but how much he's had to carry just to keep the world guessing. Gemini Norawit didn't arrive in the spotlight with fireworks or loud declarations. He appeared, quietly, gracefully, and somehow made you stop and watch. With a calm presence and soulful gaze, he became one of Thailand's most magnetic BL actors almost overnight. Whether playing a shy schoolboy or a fiercely loyal lover, Gemini brought a subtle depth that drew fans in. But fame, especially in the BL world, is never just about acting. It's about chemistry, about the whispers that follow you after the camera cuts. The turning point? His on-screen pairing with Fourth Natawat. The two shared a connection that felt too fluid, too real, sparking fan theories faster than their series could finish airing. Interviews were dissected, glances were gift, and every casual touch became evidence. Were they just co-stars? Best friends? Or was there something more? The rumors gained momentum when Gemini was spotted at Pride-related events and when cryptic social media posts stirred speculation. A moment of silence during a fan Q&A, a slightly too long pause after being asked about his type. The internet doesn't forget. Suddenly, fans weren't just watching his performances, they were reading between the lines of his life. Gemini never confirmed, never denied. And maybe that's where the magic lies. He let the mystery breathe. In a culture where labels can become traps, his silence became a quiet rebellion. Whether the rumors are true or just fan-spun fantasies, Gemini's impact is undeniable. He's made audiences question what love on screen and off is allowed to look like. And in a region where LGBTQ+ acceptance is still evolving, his presence alone has started a conversation. One that's bigger than just him. One that asks, what if the roles we play aren't too far from the truth? Boom Critipak, the idol who dared to blur the lines. There's something hauntingly magnetic about Boom Critipak. Maybe it's the eyes, the kind that don't just look at you, but look into you. Or maybe it's the way he never quite fits into any box. From his earliest appearances on screen, Boom didn't just act, he disarmed. With a smile that lingered in people's minds and a natural elegance that made even the smallest roles unforgettable, Boom quickly rose to become one of the most talked about faces in Thailand's new wave of stars. But fame, in today's world, comes with a microscope. And for Boom, that microscope kept zooming in on one thing: his rumored sexuality. It started quietly. A knowing glance here, a lingering touch on screen there. And when he starred in Make It Right, a series that pushed the boundaries of boy love representation in Thai media, the whispers became a chorus. Fans dissected every interaction, every red carpet moment, even his off-screen friendships. His undeniable chemistry with co-star Peek Pimapol only fueled the speculation. Were they acting? Or was it something more? Some called it fan service. Others were convinced it was a soft reveal. And then came the behind-the-scenes clips, the interviews filled with inside jokes, the comfort they shared when no script was involved. Boom never confirmed anything, but maybe he didn't have to. In a culture where silence often speaks louder than confession, his refusal to define himself felt intentional, even defiant. He continued to choose roles that blurred the line between real and performed love. He leaned into the ambiguity, embracing characters that made people question not just his identity, but their own assumptions. And maybe that's the point. Maybe Boom Kritipak's greatest role isn't in any series, but in how he forces us to confront our hunger for labels, for clarity, for boxes we can check. Because sometimes, mystery is the loudest kind of truth. Du Girawat didn't just enter the Thai entertainment industry, he floated in like a dream. With his tall frame, ethereal beauty, and almost otherworldly calm, Du felt like someone who stepped out of a fantasy novel and onto our screens. From the moment he appeared in F4 Thailand, fans were instantly hooked, not just by his looks, but by his quiet intensity. He wasn't loud, he wasn't flashy, but you couldn't take your eyes off him. Directors saw in him something rare, a kind of stillness that said more than words ever could. Du became a new standard of heartthrob, mysterious, graceful, and impossibly magnetic. But with fame came questions. As Du kept his personal life private, the silence only fueled speculation. Fans began noticing how comfortable he seemed with emotional closeness toward his male co-stars, especially during behind-the-scenes moments that felt a little too intimate for some to ignore. Rumors started swirling. Was Du gay? Was he just playing along for fan service? Or was there a truth hiding beneath the surface? Every soft glance, every lingering touch on screen became a topic of debate. Some pointed to his elegant demeanor, his avoidance of traditional masculine posturing. Others said the speculation was just queer-baiting paranoia. But the truth? Only Du knows, and that silence made the mystery feel even deeper. In a world that demands labels, Du remained unbothered, and that to many was power. Whether the rumors are true or not, Du Girawat has become something more than just an actor. He's a symbol of fluid masculinity, a reminder that softness can be strong and ambiguity can be magnetic. In a region where LGBTQ+ conversations are still evolving, Du's quiet presence has done something loud. It's made people talk, wonder, and question the boxes we put our idols in. Maybe he's not ready to define himself publicly, or maybe he never will. But either way, he's already shifting the culture. What do you see when you look at Du? A mystery? A movement? Or just a man living on his own terms? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if this story moved you, make sure to subscribe and support our journey as we keep uncovering the untold truths behind Asia's brightest stars. Om Pawat wasn't born to follow the crowd. From an early age, there was something magnetic about him. The way he carried himself, the way he observed the world not just through wide eyes, but a thoughtful heart. Growing up in Bangkok, he was the kind of boy who never fit the mold. Not because he couldn't, but because he refused to. By the time he entered the entertainment industry, Om already carried the quiet intensity of someone who had a story to tell. His breakthrough role in Make It Right was more than a gig. It was a spark. And with Bad Buddy, the fire caught. Suddenly, Om wasn't just an actor. He was a phenomenon. While his performances drew praise, it was his on-screen chemistry, particularly with co-star Nanon Korapat, that ignited another conversation entirely. The way they looked at each other, the timing of their interactions, the warmth that lingered even after the cameras stopped rolling. Fans didn't just ship them, they believed them. And with that belief came questions. Was Om just that good of an actor? Or was the line between fiction and reality thinner than anyone dared admit? As clips from fan meetings and behind-the-scenes footage went viral, whispers turned into headlines. Every glance was dissected. Every laugh was slowed down and studied. And Om, ever composed, ever thoughtful, neither confirmed nor denied. He let the silence speak, and in doing so, deepened the intrigue. His choice to remain ambiguous wasn't avoidance. It was power. What makes Om Pawat so captivating isn't just his talent. It's his stillness in the storm. In an industry obsessed with labels, he walks the fine line between exposure and privacy, never letting fame define him. The LGBT rumors haven't diminished him, they've added layers. Because whether he's queer or not, Om represents something vital to this generation. The right to be unlabeled, unbothered, and unapologetically human. His career is still unfolding, but one thing is certain, Om Pawat isn't afraid of the shadows people try to cast. He walks right through them, and somehow he still shines. Before he was a BL icon or the internet's baby boy, Fourth Natawat was just a wide-eyed kid from Thailand with a voice too big for karaoke night and dreams too loud to stay hidden. Born with natural charm and striking sensitivity, he broke into showbiz with music first. But it didn't take long before acting studios saw what fans would later confirm. He wasn't just talented, he was magnetic. Fourth didn't scream for attention. He earned it with quiet intensity, sharp instincts, and that rare kind of vulnerability that made every gaze feel intimate. In My School President, he didn't just play Gun, he became him. His chemistry with Gemini wasn't just written in the script, it spilled out between takes, between glances, between smiles that lasted a beat too long. As the show aired and the fan base exploded, so did the speculation. Was it just good acting? Or something more? The way Fourth looked at Gemini, too raw, too real, became the subject of countless slow-motion TikToks and fan edits, dissected frame by frame like a romantic confession. Off-screen moments only added fuel, matching outfits, secret glances, and a kind of comfort that blurred the line between friendship and something unspoken. But unlike other stars who brushed off such whispers, Fourth stayed curiously silent, neither denying nor confirming. That silence, it made the rumors louder. Some praised his subtle defiance of heteronormative expectations. Others projected onto him their own longing to see someone like themselves in the spotlight. Beautiful, brave, and maybe, just maybe, queer. The truth, still unknown. And maybe that's the point. Fourth has become more than just an actor. He's a symbol of queer ambiguity in a region still wrestling with acceptance. By never putting a label on himself, he gives space to fans who can't yet do so either. He's made room for tenderness and masculinity, for softness without shame. Whether the rumors are fact or fantasy, what matters is this. Fourth Natawat has challenged the way we see Thai heartthrobs, not as distant gods on a pedestal, but as layered, emotional, complex young men navigating fame, identity, and desire under the world's watchful gaze. And in doing so, he's already changed the narrative without saying a word. Perth Nakun wasn't built for the spotlight, at least not in the beginning. He was soft-spoken, almost too shy to look directly into the lens. But there was something magnetic in that stillness, something that made casting directors pause and fans lean in closer. With each role, Perth slowly unraveled himself. Whether he was playing the quietly tortured lover or the loyal best friend, his performances had a tenderness that felt startlingly real. It wasn't the loud type of talent, it was the kind that lingered. Like a song stuck in your head after the credits roll. And perhaps that's why whispers followed him wherever he went. Whispers that ask, is he just that good? Or is there more behind those eyes than we're allowed to see? The rumors didn't start with anything scandalous. They started with glances, with moments on screen that felt too intimate, too electric to be just acting. When Perth starred in the series Love by Chance, fans fell headfirst into the chemistry between him and his co-star Saint. But behind the scenes, things grew complicated. Some claim the tension between Perth and other BL actors wasn't just professional rivalry. Fan cams, edited clips, and leaked backstage footage painted a picture of someone trapped between performance and reality. As more co-stars came and went, the same questions resurfaced. Why doesn't Perth talk about his dating life? Why is he always just on the edge of closeness, never stepping in? The more silent he stayed, the louder the internet screamed. And yet, through it all, Perth never labeled himself, never confirmed, never denied. It was a kind of quiet resistance that spoke volumes. Some say Perth has been misunderstood. Others believe he's playing a carefully crafted game of distance. But in truth, he might just be one of the few who doesn't feel the need to explain who he is or who he loves. His career continues to evolve, moving away from just BL roles and into deeper, more complex characters. And while the world waits for him to say something definitive, Perth remains a master of ambiguity, letting the work speak louder than any headline ever could. Maybe that's the message he's sending. Not everything needs to be spelled out to be real. From the moment Fluk Natuch burst onto the screen, there was something magnetic about him, a quiet softness that pulled you in even when he wasn't trying. Born in 1996 in Lamphun, Thailand, Fluk began his career not with loud fanfare, but with steady determination. He wasn't your typical leading man. He was delicate, introspective, and emotionally rich. That subtlety became his power. His breakout role in Red Wine and The Dark Knight didn't just show off his acting chops. It turned him into a symbol for a new kind of Thai storytelling, raw, poetic, and daring. And when he stepped into the world of boys' love with Until We Meet Again, Fluk didn't just play a character. He embodied grief, longing, and reincarnated love in a way that felt deeply personal. For many fans, it was hard to tell where the character ended and the real Fluk began. But with rising fame came rising speculation. As Fluk's chemistry with co-stars grew more intense, especially with Om Titiwat, so did the whispers. Were they just great actors, or was something real bleeding through the screen? Their interviews were always affectionate, their fan meetings full of tender glances and inside jokes. Even when Fluk posted personal messages about love, heartbreak, and self-acceptance, fans read between the lines. Some believed he was dropping hints, subtly embracing an identity without saying it out loud. And in Thailand's evolving yet still conservative entertainment world, that silence, that ambiguity, only added to the intrigue. There was no scandal, no denial, just an open-ended question wrapped in kindness, vulnerability, and the power of letting people believe what they wanted. Fluk never needed to shout. His truth, whatever it may be, was always in the way he looked at someone on screen. And maybe that's why Fluk's story feels so intimate. Because in an industry that often demands answers, Fluk gave us emotion. In a world chasing labels, he offered connection. But while Fluk's journey was gentle, Mark Natterit's path would come with more heat, more headlines, and a whole new kind of tension in the world of Thai BL. Mark Natterit never shouted for attention. He didn't have to. With a quiet gaze and a voice that always seemed to carry more than just words, he made people lean in, not just look. Born in Thailand, Mark stepped into the world of entertainment like a soft ripple in still water. At first, he was just another face in the crowd, modeling, supporting roles, a few TV guest spots. But it didn't take long before something about him began to stir curiosity. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't loud, but there was a grace in his stillness, a presence that lingered even after the scene faded. Audiences couldn't quite explain it, but they remembered him. When Mark starred in My Gear and Your Gown, fans didn't just watch, they felt something shift. His on-screen chemistry with actor Pawan Thanik was magnetic, almost too real. The line between acting and emotion blurred with each tender glance, each pause that felt unscripted. And soon, rumors began to swirl. Was it just a role, or was something deeper, hiding in plain sight? Unlike many co-stars, Mark and Fluke didn't rush to define their connection in public. They left it in the space between interviews, in casual behind-the-scenes moments, in the way they looked at each other when they didn't know the cameras were rolling. Fans dove into every detail. Matching bracelets, cryptic captions, lingering hugs. The speculation wasn't just about romance, it was about identity, courage, and whether Mark Natteret, the soft-spoken rising star, was part of a truth that Thai media still found hard to say out loud. Mark never made a dramatic confession. He didn't wave a flag or deliver a speech. Instead, he let the work speak. Let the emotions bleed through the screen. Let the silence suggest what words couldn't. And maybe that's what made it more powerful. In an industry still bound by tradition and image, his refusal to shut the door on interpretation was, in itself, a statement. Some called it queerbaiting, others called it bravery. But one thing's clear. Mark Natteret challenged the idea that sexuality had to be labeled, explained, or packaged for consumption. He gave audiences a mirror, not a map, and dared them to sit with the ambiguity. And maybe that's the most honest kind of representation we can get. At least for now. From the moment Nanon Korapat stepped into the spotlight, something about him felt different. Not just his talent, which was undeniable, but the way he moved through the industry. Calm, thoughtful, magnetic. Born into a showbiz family, Nanon could have easily coasted on his father's name. But he didn't. He worked, he studied, he chose roles that challenged him. And when The Gifted hit Thai screens, everything changed. He wasn't just another teen actor. He was an artist, precise, intense, emotionally raw. Fans were drawn to his quiet charisma, the way his eyes seemed to speak more than his words ever could. But with fame comes curiosity, and with curiosity come the whispers. As Nanon's popularity grew, so did the rumors, not about scandal or misbehavior, but about something far more personal. His chemistry with co-stars, particularly Om Pawat, didn't just read as acting, it lingered. In interviews, their glances seemed too knowing. Behind-the-scenes footage captured moments that felt intimate, a hand that lingered too long, a smile that came too easily. The fandom exploded. Hashtags, edits, speculative threads dissecting every gesture. But what fueled the talk wasn't just the fan service. It was the authenticity. Nanon never played into the usual no-homo jokes or distanced himself. Instead, he leaned into vulnerability, portraying queerness on screen with grace and respect. That bravery, even in fiction, blurred the lines between role and reality. And the silence? It only made the questions louder. Was Nanon queer? Was Om more than just a co-star? Or were we just seeing what we wanted to see? To this day, Nanon has never publicly labeled himself. And maybe that's the point. In an industry where labels can become cages, he's chosen ambiguity as armor. He lets the work speak. He lets the emotions spill. And whether he's breaking hearts on screen or stirring speculation off screen, he never denies the space he's carved out. One of softness, safety, and subtle rebellion. The rumors, they haven't faded, but neither has his grace. In a world obsessed with answers, Nanon remains the question. Not because he's hiding, but because he's redefining what visibility means. And maybe, just maybe, that quiet defiance is louder than any confession could ever be. In the end, these aren't just rumors, they're reflections of how far we've come and how far we still have to go. Behind the fame, behind the whispers, are real people, navigating identity, pressure, and love under the spotlight. If this video made you think, feel, or question what you thought you knew, then it's done its job. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's support truth, not just speculation. Subscribe to our channel, check out more stories like this, and join us as we uncover the hearts behind the headlines. Because sometimes, the story you think you know is just the beginning. What if the hottest stars in Thailand aren't just heartthrobs, but hiding something the industry dares not say out loud? In 2025, fame and speculation go hand in hand, and these 10 names keep showing up in the same whispers. From stolen glances on set to off-screen chemistry that feels a little too real, the rumors won't stop. And maybe that's the point. So let's talk about it. Are these just fan fantasies? Or is there something deeper behind the silence? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters more than ever. From the moment Neo Trinimtawat stepped into the spotlight, something about him made people pause. It wasn't just the flawless skin or the camera-ready smile, it was a presence. A quiet, magnetic kind of beauty that didn't scream for attention. It simply existed and made you want to know more. Starting with small roles in Thai dramas, Neo built his name steadily. But it wasn't until he entered the world of BL series that things truly changed. He wasn't just acting, he was seen. And fans around the world began to whisper, "There's something different about him." As his fame grew, so did the questions. Interviews stayed safe, his answers polished. But behind the curated image, fans couldn't help but wonder, was it all just a performance? The way he looked at his co-stars, the effortless intimacy on screen, the chemistry that felt too natural to be scripted. On social media, clips of subtle touches, lingering glances, and affectionate moments went viral. Some said it was fan service, others weren't so sure. And in an industry where silence often speaks the loudest, Neo never denied, but never confirmed, anything. Just enough mystery to keep the rumors alive. What makes Neo's story so compelling isn't just the speculation, it's the way he carries it. Gracefully, with a kind of inner knowing, like someone who understands the weight of being watched and chooses to say everything by saying nothing. In a culture still struggling with labels, Neo remains label-free, and perhaps that's his quiet revolution. Because maybe it's not about who he is to us, but how he's helping others see themselves. Whatever the truth is, one thing's clear. Neo Trinimtawat is more than just another pretty face. He's a question mark wrapped in grace. And maybe that's why we can't stop looking. Before the screaming fans, before the viral clips, before the Yin War storm took over the internet, Yin Anan was just a quiet boy from Thailand with soft eyes and a love for motorcycles. Acting wasn't part of the original plan. In fact, he studied mechanical engineering. That's right, your favorite BL heartthrob could have been fixing your air conditioner instead of breaking your heart on screen. But fate, or perhaps the internet, had other ideas. One casting call later, and suddenly the shy engineer became a national obsession. Yin's breakout role came with Un of Love, Love Mechanics, where he starred opposite War Wanarat. And that's when things got complicated, or magical, or confusing, depending on who you ask. Because the chemistry was so good, fans started asking, wait, are they actually together? Every side glance, every touch, every off-screen moment that looked just a little too unscripted. The rumors grew louder. Some saw it as queerbaiting. Others were convinced it was a secret love story playing out in plain sight. And Yin? He didn't confirm. He didn't deny. He just smiled, that slow, knowing smile, and let the world wonder. What makes Yin's story so compelling isn't whether the rumors are true. It's that he dared to be ambiguous in a world that demands definitions. His refusal to perform his identity for the public, queer or straight, makes him a quiet rebel in a space where image is everything. And maybe that's why fans love him even more. Because whether he's part of the LGBTQ+ community or simply a master of queer-coded stardom, Yin represents something rare. A man who doesn't chase the spotlight, yet always ends up in the center of it, just by being unapologetically himself. You know that guy in every Thai BL series who's calm, soft-spoken, and somehow still manages to melt hearts with a single glance? That's C. Tawinan. From the moment he stepped onto the screen, he gave off this "don't look at me, but actually do" kind of vibe. It wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy, it was subtle, dangerously subtle. And maybe that's why fans couldn't stop watching. Before fame, C lived a life far from the spotlight. Born in 1997, he didn't come from a showbiz dynasty or have a viral dance on TikTok. He just had that quiet kind of charisma that sneaks up on you and stays. C's career took off not because he chased the fame, but because the fame found him. His breakthrough came with the series Vice Versa, where he starred alongside Jimmy Guitarafall. And let's be honest, the chemistry was unreal. Not just they're good actors, unreal. It was, are they actually dating? Unreal. The internet didn't just notice, it spiraled. Fan cams, edits, theories. Every glance, every shoulder touch, every off-screen smile became a clue in the ongoing mystery. Is C. Tawinan actually gay? Or is he just really, really good at pretending? But here's the thing. C never confirmed, never denied. He just smiled and let the world wonder. And somehow, that silence spoke volumes. What makes C so magnetic isn't just his looks or his talent, it's the enigma. The fact that, in a world obsessed with labels, he refuses to give one. He's never come out, never clapped back at rumors, never leaned in for clout. Instead, he's lived with grace, letting his work speak, letting his fans feel what they feel, and never once breaking the fourth wall. That takes courage. In 2025, where queer identity in Asian media is still walking a tightrope, C stands somewhere in between, not hiding, but not explaining either. And maybe that's exactly the representation some people need. So what do you think? Is C simply playing the part or quietly living his truth? Drop your thoughts in the comments, support the channel if this story moved you, and don't forget, sometimes the loudest truth is the one left unsaid. There's something about Tommy, something that doesn't scream for attention, but still lingers long after the screen fades to black. With that signature half smile and the kind of eyes that seem to know more than they say, Sidichok Pulpol didn't burst into fame. He eased into it. A boy next door with a twist, he became a quiet icon in Thailand's BL universe. And while others chased the spotlight, Tommy just stood still and let the spotlight come to him. But the more he stayed quiet, the louder the questions became. It started, as these things often do, not with a confession, but a glance. Fans began noticing the way Tommy looked at his co-star, the subtle touches, the inside jokes that went just a little too inside, the kind of chemistry that even a cold camera lens couldn't dim. Was it acting? Or was it something more? The internet did what the internet does best. It zoomed in, slowed down, clipped it, looped it, and turned it into 1,000 TikToks. Soon, whispers grew louder than scripts. Rumors flew, not just about who he might like, but why he never bothered to deny anything. And Tommy? Well, he just kept smiling that quiet, knowing smile, like someone who understood that the loudest truths often live in silence. Maybe that's what made him magnetic. He didn't need to confirm, defend, or explain. In a world desperate for labels, Tommy remained beautifully unlabeled. Maybe he's queer, maybe he's just really good at acting, or maybe the mystery is the message. Because while some stars burn out trying to be seen, Tommy became unforgettable simply by being unreadable. And honestly, that's kind of genius. So what do you think? Are the rumors just fantasy? Or the world catching up to a quiet truth? He had the smile of a man who had nothing to hide. And that was exactly what made people suspicious. Prince Superat, or Mark, as most fans call him, spent over a decade playing dreamboat boyfriends and ideal husbands on screen. With every perfect gaze, every carefully delivered romantic line, he built the image of the straight man. Clean-cut, respectful, handsome in a way that made grandmas blush and teenagers giggle. And yet, beneath that polished exterior, there was always something a little too flawless, a little too rehearsed. The rumors didn't start loud. They crept in slowly, whispered between fandom forums, then began echoing through the deeper corners of Thai entertainment gossip. Why did Mark never seem emotionally available, even in interviews? Why did his chemistry with male co-stars often feel more natural, more electric, than with the women he was supposedly dating? Was his high-profile long-term relationship with Kimberly Ann Woltemus, though glamorous, just for the cameras? Speculation hit a fever pitch when an anonymous post claimed to have seen Mark in a luxury resort with a man who wasn't his manager, but definitely acted like something more. Suddenly, old photos were reanalyzed, old interviews picked apart, and the public couldn't help but ask, what if Mark's greatest performance wasn't on screen, but in real life? Still, through it all, Mark stayed quiet, not defensive, not angry, just silent. And that silence only added fuel to the fire. Whether the rumors were true or not, they challenged the idea of what masculinity should look like in Thai entertainment. Maybe that's the real story here, not what Mark said, but what he didn't say. And if you thought that story was intriguing, wait until you meet the next man in our list. Kem Hussawi, the rising star with a heartthrob face and a mystery wrapped in every smirk. His story? It's got charm, tension, and just enough sparkle to keep you guessing till the very end. Let's dive in. Kem Hussawi was born with one of those faces, too perfect to trust, too charming to ignore. On screen, he's the classic heartthrob, the warm smile, the sparkling eyes, the slow-motion walk that somehow makes time bend. But off-screen, that's where things get interesting. While many Thai stars bask in the spotlight, Kem has always danced around it, just close enough to keep fans intrigued, but far enough to stay a mystery. He's polite, respectful, and, well, quiet. Too quiet. And in this industry, silence is never just silence. It's an open invitation for rumors to bloom. Over the years, the whispers got louder, that Kem seemed a little too close to certain co-stars, that he dodged every question about love like a trained martial artist, that maybe the chemistry he shared with his male leads wasn't acting at all. It didn't help that clips of him being effortlessly sweet with fellow actors were clipped, slowed down, and analyzed frame by fans and investigators alike. A playful glance became proof. A casual touch? Scandalous. When a behind-the-scenes photo of Kem resting his head on a male colleague's shoulder went viral, the internet lit up with questions no one dared to answer. And Kem? He laughed, shrugged, and posted a selfie with his dog. The beauty of Kem isn't just in his face, it's in the way he handles the chaos. With grace, with wit, and with just enough mystery to keep everyone guessing. Whether he's gay, straight, or just brilliant at playing the part we want him to, that's not really the point anymore. What matters is how he makes people feel. Seen, excited, curious. Maybe the reason the rumors won't die is because deep down, people want them to be true. They want their handsome prince to be a little rebellious, a little unexpected. And Kem? He's just busy being Kem, unbothered, undefeated, and undeniably magnetic. So what do you believe? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The story's not over yet, and neither is Kem. From the moment Vachiravit Paisarnkulwang, known simply as August, stepped onto the screen, something felt different. He wasn't just charming. He was immaculate. Perfect skin, perfect posture, perfect smile. Like he'd been carved out of Thai marble and sprinkled with just enough mystery to keep fans guessing. August rose to fame with his boy-next-door roles, soft glances, and that oddly specific talent of making every line sound like a secret only you were meant to hear. But perfection, as they say, is suspicious. And soon, whispers began to swirl, not about scandals or meltdowns, but about preferences. You know, the kind that make aunties lean closer to their phones during fan meetings. Unlike many Thai heartthrobs who lean into fan service or bait the crowd with flirty winks and ambiguous chemistry, August played it safe. Almost too safe. While his on-screen pairings sparked the usual online frenzy, off-screen he became known for keeping things low-key, borderline invisible. No late-night party sightings, no accidental hand-holding scandals, and certainly no rumored girlfriends worth screenshotting. Instead, fans began connecting invisible dots: his unusually tight bond with certain male co-stars, the lack of romantic involvement with women, and his repeated statements about valuing privacy and deep friendship over labels. Suddenly, those romantic glances on screen didn't seem just acting anymore. Were we reading too much into it? Or had August mastered the oldest trick in the book, hiding in plain sight? What makes August's story so intriguing isn't proof, it's the absence of it. He hasn't denied, he hasn't confirmed, he simply existed in a way that lets every fan project their own fantasy onto him. That level of self-control? Impressive, mysterious, and let's be honest, a little suspicious. Some argue he's just a private person. Others say he's quietly navigating an industry that isn't ready to accept every truth. Either way, August has become something rare in Thai entertainment, a walking question mark wrapped in designer linen. Maybe we'll never know the real story, or maybe we already do, and we're all just politely pretending otherwise. Kanafan Puichakul, when first meant more than just a name. In a world where every young actor fights to stand out, Kanafan Puichakul, better known as First, had a name that sounded like destiny. But let's be honest, being called First, in an industry where everyone wants to be number one, that's either brilliant branding or a cosmic joke waiting to happen. Still, First wasn't just another pretty face in a sea of BL stars. He had something else, a strange, quiet gravity. The kind that didn't demand attention, but held it when it arrived. Fans didn't just notice him, they remembered him. As his roles got more intense and his stares more smoldering, the rumor mill did what it always does. It whispered. And the whispers grew. Was that chemistry on screen just acting? Or was there something real simmering beneath the surface? First's name started floating in online forums and fan threads, not just for his performances, but for his personal life. There were moments off camera, shared glances, maybe even one too many affectionate comments during interviews that left people wondering, was there a first in someone's heart? Offset? Still, he never addressed the rumors directly. And maybe that was the most powerful response of all, letting the mystery linger, like an unfinished love story with no last chapter. But here's the twist. In an era where privacy feels like a myth, First made his silence feel like a statement. He smiled through the speculation and moved with the poise of someone who knew exactly who he was, even if the world didn't. Maybe that's why people can't stop asking about him. Because First wasn't just a character, he was a question mark wrapped in charm. And just when you think you've figured him out, another layer unfolds. Now, speaking of charming enigmas wrapped in glitter and fan theories, let's talk about the effortlessly magnetic Gun Korowit Boonsri. Gun Korowit was never just another pretty face in Thai entertainment. He arrived with a disarming smile, a voice like velvet, and that rare kind of charisma that makes people feel like they've known you forever, even if you've never met. On screen, he was the boy next door, the loyal friend, the soft-spoken romantic. But off-screen, that's where things start to get interesting. Fans didn't just love Gun, they watched him. Closely. Too closely, maybe. Every glance, every giggle, every bro moment with co-stars turned into screenshots, slow-mo edits, and hashtags that never seemed to die. The rumors didn't come out of nowhere. They whispered through fandoms like campfire smoke, slow, steady, and impossible to contain. Gun's on-screen chemistry with almost every male co-star was just too good, too natural. Whether he was hugging a little too long or exchanging looks that felt a little too real, fans noticed. And then came the interviews, where he dodged questions with that signature grin. Some called it queer-baiting. Others believed it was quiet truth wrapped in industry polish. Either way, the name Gun Korowit somehow always ended up in the same sentence as, is he? And so the question hung there, unanswered, but never forgotten. Gun has never officially addressed the speculation, and maybe that's the smartest move in a world where labels often feel like traps. Maybe it's his way of keeping something sacred for himself, or maybe his silence is the answer. Either way, one thing's for sure. Gun has carved out a space in the hearts of fans who see themselves in him, regardless of who he loves. Whether he's a quiet ally, a coded icon, or just a really good actor who knows how to spark curiosity, Gun remains one of the most fascinating mysteries in Thai pop culture. And sometimes, The most powerful stories are the ones we're still writing. At first glance, Bruce Siricorn looked like the classic rom-com heartthrob, clean-cut, gentle smile, and eyes that could talk you out of a bad decision. But if you paid closer attention, really close, there was always something a little off-script. Not in a bad way, just something extra. Like he wasn't acting the part, he was the part, but rewritten with a little more softness, a little more soul. He broke onto the scene as the guy girls were supposed to fall for. And they did. But quietly, and often in whispers, the fan theories began. Why does he never talk about dating? Why do his eyes light up more when he's around him? Then came the on-screen pairings. Bruce didn't just play well with others, he glowed beside certain co-stars. And the internet noticed. That one BL drama, it wasn't just the acting, it was the way he looked at his scene partner like he'd found home. And sure, maybe it's good directing, or maybe it's something that can't be scripted. Fans scoured every behind-the-scenes clip, every glance, every shoulder touch. And when he posted a birthday pic with his best friend, just the two of them, mid-hug at sunset, the comment section exploded. Some called it queerbaiting, others called it bravery done quietly. But Bruce never confirmed, never denied. He just smiled, like a man who knew the truth but didn't need to say it out loud. Is Bruce Siricorn gay, straight, something in between? The truth is, maybe that's not the point. Maybe what makes his story matter isn't a label, it's the feeling, the way he made people feel seen. The way he let every soft boy, shy teen, or closeted kid believe that it's okay to just be. Whether it's real or rumor, Bruce's silence spoke volumes. And that's the real headline. Not who he loves, but how he dares to live without explanation. So what do you think? Out of all 10 stories we've shared, which one struck you the most? Whether these rumors are true or not, one thing is clear. These 10 stars dared to challenge the mold. They gave us moments that made us feel, question, and connect. They blurred the lines between fiction and reality, masculinity and vulnerability. And in doing so, they helped make space for more voices, more truths, and more love. If this video made you think, feel, or even just see someone differently, that's the power of storytelling. And we're just getting started, so don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button, check out more stories on our channel, and let's keep the conversation going. Because sometimes, what starts as a rumor ends up changing everything. We'll keep bringing you the stories that matter, the ones whispered in the shadows. They've got the looks, the fame, and the whispers. In 2025, these 10 stunning South Korean actors aren't just heating up screens. They're setting off rumors that won't quit. From BL drama stars to K-pop idols turned actors, each name on this list carries a mix of heartthrob energy and unexpected intrigue. Are they queer icons in the making, or just magnetic enough to spark speculation? One thing's for sure, behind those perfect jawlines, there's a story that's got fans watching a little closer. You won't believe who made it to #1. Ji Chang-wook wasn't just a star, he was a phenomenon. With razor-sharp cheekbones, a voice like velvet, and action scenes that looked like poetry in motion, Ji wasn't born to blend in. He was born to shine. From his breakout role in Healer to leading global hits like The K2 and Suspicious Partner, he didn't just play heroes, he became the fantasy. But when your smile is flawless and your love life is spotless, people start asking questions. And in Ji's case, they never stopped. Ji Chang-wook has always been a mystery wrapped in charisma. He's done fan meetings across Asia, posed for luxury brands, and left entire stadiums screaming with just one wink. But unlike many of his peers, he's kept his personal life locked tighter than a script leak at Netflix. No public girlfriends, no dating scandals, no caught-on-camera slip-ups. In a world where even idols accidentally reveal more than they intend, Ji's record is almost too clean. It didn't take long for fan theories to swirl. From co-stars he looked too close to male friendships that felt a little too intimate. The internet lit up with speculation. Was Ji Chang-wook secretly gay, or just a master of image control? Here's the truth. Ji Chang-wook has never confirmed or denied anything, and maybe that's the most powerful move of all. While the world spins stories, Ji keeps working. He chooses projects with emotional depth, risks big with intense roles, and pours everything into his craft. Off-screen, he supports causes, takes care of his mother, and keeps fans guessing with every rare social media post. In the end, Ji Chang-wook doesn't need to explain himself. His silence isn't weakness, it's strategy, and it's made him one of the most talked about and desired actors in all of Asia. Gay? Straight? Maybe we'll never know. But in 2025, Ji Chang-wook isn't just famous. He's a riddle wrapped in a designer suit, and we can't stop watching. He had it all, then lost everything in a single night. But what happens